Californication. California. Fuck. You want to come out here and play Red Hot Chili Peppers with me? Hello? Hello? Oh, God, what? I'm just trying to camp and sing Red Hot Chili Peppers songs.
Patrick.
What the fuck is that?
Patrick, are you ready for the 50th episode?
Welcome to the 50th episode of Delete Everything Podcast with guests Steve Gutenberg, Wilford Brimley, Bayou Boudreaux, whichever three members of the Red Hot Chili Peppers you think we got, and a special appearance from Tuttle Bottoms. Also, stay tuned for a special sneak preview of Beth of Both Worlds coming this summer to the Bible Network. And now, your host, Billy Crystal.
Woo! It's a special night for your podcast. It's Cryptids. Hey there, hey bear, what do you know? In the swamp, it's you and Boudreaux.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Delete Everything Podcast on this, our 50th episode.
Woo!
That's
50th episode
yeah.
extravaganza! Rock and roll Lollapalooza Woodstock 99!
That's a cool benchmark. We did it in something like 8.5 months. So we're some industrious little fucking Tommy knockers, aren't we?
Yeah, it's like we've our impregnated bellies have swollen with a child that is the comedy that's going to go into everyone's ears holes.
Children don't go in people's ears holes.
Hold on a second. It's like 8.5 months. We've carried this little demon baby to almost to full term, and now we're giving birth to it prematurely because so it has a little bit of shit wrong with it.
Oh boy. I am your host, Patrick Wall, and with me, as always, for the 50th time at least, my co-host
Riley Bowen.
And since it is our 50th, we decided to bring it back to where it all began with a third Cryptids episode, right? Before we get started, thank you to all the people who took a moment to give us reviews and ratings. The beautiful people. That's what we call you guys behind your back. So you guys don't know this, but
the beautiful people.
Oh God, never mind. I take it back. We don't call you that in secret. Those of you who are enjoying the podcast and haven't done it yet, please tap those dots, the little 3 dots there, and leave us a review. Tell us what you like about us. It honestly doesn't even need to be true. Say that I make a really killer lasagna and that Riley is a Kakua who possessed your grandma.
Yeah, I'm the Kakua that went into your grandma. Great. Thanks. Your lasagna sucks.
I've never made a lasagna. I cook my ass off. I'm not a pasta guy.
Yeah. You look like a pasta guy.
I'm fucking Latino, bro. I'm beans and rice.
Oh, yeah.
Rice is my fucking my carbohydrate of choice.
You ever put turmeric in your rice?
In my eyes?
In your eyes. You ever splash turmeric in your eyes?
No.
You ever put turmeric in your rice?
No, I don't think so.
Makes a nice yellow rice with a little
Really?
tang to it. Yeah, that's what I ate before I came here.
I use Sazon.
Ah,
yeah.
You know, it's a
Goya.
It's a conservative company.
It is.
Yeah.
I know. I always get real pissed off when I buy Goya products. I'm like, fuck you,
these
Goya.
motherfuckers. Oh, here's my money.
Yeah, why are you taking a political stance? Just make my fucking food and
Just
shut
find
up.
your mom's in abuela, right? Why don't you just have her tell you how to make some?
My mother's not an abuela. That's a Spanish term for grandmother.
Okay, so what's the Portuguese one?
Vavá.
Vulva?
Fuck you, dude.
Granny vulva?
Va.
Vava.
Like you say, aw, but put a V in it and do it twice. Vava.
Vava Gabor? Our first cryptid of the...
Yeah, and Grandpa is Eva.
Our first cryptid is the Vava, followed by the Sasha.
Okay. So also, by the way, if you're on Spotify, you can leave comments on the individual episodes. Those are always fun, and almost 100% of the time we respond to those. So also make sure you check us out on YouTube. We've got all the episodes there in audio format. We are working on video stuff too. We have some video stuff on there, but we're working on more video stuff.
We got big video stuff in the works.
Yeah. And lastly, if these 50 episodes are not enough for you and you just fucking need more, you can join us on Patreon and you will get a bonus episode every week. And we have a lot of fun there. And if you want to
menace us,
and if you want to message us directly, deleteeverythingpodcast@gmail.com is where to do that. If you've got a show idea or suggestion, or you just want to warn us that a Kakawa hunter is after Riley, that's where to do that. So also, if you're not in a crazy rush, stay through and listen to the end of this episode. Drew has been working on a nice thing for you guys. It's a full-length version of our opening theme. And even though it's still a work in progress, it fucks pretty hard. And I don't know, if you jam out to like the first or the 20 seconds of our opening theme, you're probably going to like the full version. So yeah, stick around for that. All right. So
I would say that Drew's theme is comparable to the Blade Runner theme by Vangelis.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say.
It's very synthwavy. If you're a synthwave person, then you're going to be.
Yeah, I said Blade Runner by Vangelis.
Oh, totally. Hey, man, 50th episode. Full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle. We're back to where we started.
It's the third installment of like a fucking 20 installment series. What do you mean full circle?
We've circled back around.
Yes, that we do.
People celebrate a birthday every year.
Which I never understood. You should get your first birthday.
Are you gonna shit on birthdays now?
You should get your first birthday, and then the first time you kill a man, and then when you feel death coming. Those are the days that you should be celebrating.
Welcome to Delete Everything Podcast, everyone. I'm Patrick Wall, apparently a hating-ass bitch, and with me is my co-host, Riley, who is just a fucking stream of joy and jizz.
I like a lot of stuff. Sometimes I like some jizz. You don't know, I got a life.
In you or out of you?
Whatever. Don't be so suburban. It's the new millennium.
We're like a fucking quarter of a century into it at this point.
It's the Willennium.
Oh, God, stop. We're not doing that. Okay, so
Will Smith is my favorite cryptid.
If this is your first Cryptids episode, basically the way we do it is we pick 3 states.
Fucking buckle up.
Yeah, it gets a little weird. These are the Cryptids episodes are fun. We pick 3 states and we dig into some of like the local cryptids and creepy legends. We try to avoid shit like Bigfoots because everybody's got a fucking Bigfoot with river/lake monsters. They all have some iteration
so
of
Rivers
those
Cuomo,
things.
River Phoenix. Those are right out.
Every state has an iteration of like a Bigfoot or a fucking river or lake monster. And it doesn't matter how much they like try to dress up the fucking name. It's a goddamn Bigfoot and a goddamn water monster. So unless there's something particularly funny about them, we just keep them off the list.
We got a big old dildo on the glass table in front of us here.
Mm-hmm.
Is the creature from the Black Lagoon dildo.
Yes.
So water monsters are big.
He's a very well-endowed fella.
He has a big old schwanz.
He's got a fucking 10-inch cock.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Speed round. You ready?
What?
We're gonna revisit some of the hits, some of the favorites from Cryptids 1 and 2.
Okay.
All right. So we got multiple characters and we've got voices for all of them. Okay.
You just want me to do Boudreaux.
We're gonna start off. Hold on. Starting off, Boudreaux.
What am I supposed to just?
Yeah, just do a sample. Do a Boudreaux.
What? Oh God!
Come on, you're the kid of 1,000 voices.
So on the spot, though.
Yeah,
man.
it is.
I got to think of what I want to say.
Let's take a breath. Hold on.
Okay. What is Boudreaux gonna say?
Well, let me just imagine the Rougarou was sneaking in your window trying to get your gumbo.
Oh Lord! Everybody pack up their things. The Rougarou coming in through the window to take our gumbo.
Now, hold on. Now, quick. His cousin Abear after the Rougarou gets him.
Boudreaux, get the family out of here. The Rougarou got me. He gonna kill me for this gumbo. Go on now. Go, hurry up.
Very nice. Okay, moving forward. Let's get some old Mrs. Johnson.
Okay, what's she doing?
Someone is approaching her daughter.
Oh, God. Get away from my daughter! No! Get What was the daughter's name?
I can't remember. Who cares?
I don't remember.
This is irrelevant.
Shit.
All right. And I guess we'll just do a quick one. Tuttle Bottoms. Tuttle Bottoms is very concerned about your life choices and thinks that you should probably call it an early night.
Excuse me. Do y'all not think that it is too late to be up eating gumbo in your bayou house, Boudreaux? I need you to pack it up. Otherwise, you're gonna invite you a Rougarou right into this house. You and your cousin and all your fucking 15 children. Okay, I'm just trying to do the right thing here for y'all. Go on.
Yeah, go on.
Put it in a Tupperware. It's late.
Yay! Yay!
Oh,
Patrick Wall, the kid of 1,000 voices, everyone. Oh, we probably never even dropped.
At least
we've
three
never
voices.
even dropped that lore. When Patrick was just a little lad, somebody called him the kid of 1,000 voices.
Yeah, on the bus.
He's carried that with him as like an attribute his entire life.
It was like probably fourth grade.
He's like a walking SNL actor.
Yeah, fourth grade on the bus, because I used to be able to do like all the fucking Looney Tunes and like I was just be able to do a bunch of fucking voices.
My favorite's when you do Droopy Dog.
That one's on some of our podcasts. You know, you got to go deep in the catalog, but you'll find them. Yeah, and for some reason that stuck with me, and so I always like tried to do voices, and then and
working out well now. Look at you, you're a professional comedian.
Hey,
we've made $100 doing this.
$100. Okay, so back to what I was saying.
It was a good warm up.
It was great. It's fucking awesome. If this is your first Cryptids episode, that's just a little taste of what's about to happen. But so basically what we do, we pick 3 states, we go through, we leave out run-of-the-mill fucking bullshit that everybody has, stuff, and we try to like focus on the kind of cool, unique individual legends and cryptids. And
right. If this is your first encounter with us doing the cryptids, the study of cryptozoology is classified as the study of undiscovered animals or animals that are rumored to exist or have like diehard fans, but you know, we don't have any actual legitimate proof of.
Sometimes it's an urban legend, sometimes it's just a mythological sort of creature from an area, but just to give you a rundown if you want to go back. So the first Cryptids episode was our first episode ever. That's how we started this podcast. And we did my home state of Louisiana. We did Florida, which is where we live now. We did Riley's home state of Michigan. And those were our 3 states. And then for our second one, I think I asked your wife to just pick 3 states at random.
Right, yeah. It was like,
and I think she picked Montana, Colorado, and Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those we just did 3 random ones. This time around, we've decided to do 2 states where we have a lot of listeners and 1 state where we have never had a single download. So if you are in New York or California, thanks guys, this one is for you. And if you are in Alaska, I don't know, fuck you. Stop enjoying all that fucking natural beauty and hunting, one of the things we're probably going to make fun of you for believing. And I don't know, you're stuck in the house for like 7 months a year. Like, what are you doing? Listen to our podcast, goddammit.
I want to live in Alaska.
What the fuck do they do? Yeah, I would love to live in Alaska too. It's beautiful.
But I've also,
God damn, it's beautiful.
You know, I'm one of those people that I don't have any kind of social anxiety whatsoever, but I'm not a big fan of doing things, like going out and doing things. I would love to read and study and listen and watch things.
Listen, you have to do a lot of things to be ready to not do any things for 7 months.
Yes, I understand that. It's like a madcap fucking 5 months of just like fucking preparation, and then you hibernate. You know. Yeah. But like, I would dig on that. It's like, to me, that's what do they call that?
Can I ask you a question?
A feature, not a bug.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. In this sort of scenario where you're living in Alaska, you are married with a teenage daughter.
I assume my daughter's living her life somewhere and my wife is dead. Yeah.
Okay, that makes things a lot easier because you got
this is it's not a fantasy that like invites another person, you know.
No,
and it's never going to happen. I love my wife. I don't, I don't want anything to happen to her, and there's no fucking reality where she's down with that.
Yeah, right. There's also very small reality where she dies before you, just statistically, age gap wise, the whole shebang.
Seen the way she drives? Fucking jinx unjinx, where's the wood? I gotta but yeah, like in my head I always pictured like my life at some point before I like had a child and got married. I always pictured that I would probably just be a crazy old Tommy Lee Jones living in the woods somewhere, you know,
I always
like
had that
see
too.
a wolf in my yard and I just like nod at it, and
and
the snow's falling on cedars, like fucking I'm drinking coffee and smoking my pipe on the porch. Like that's
Lord.
how I saw my life like unfolding.
I will say Alaska is beautiful, and I loved the time that I spent there, which was 3 weeks in the summertime. Knowing how chilly it got, especially like further north I didn't even like go far north, but like as far up as Fairbanks, how chilly it got even in like July at night. I can't imagine, like most of the people that I met there were, sort of came and went with the seasons, and they worked in, whatever. And they're like, "Oh no, I'm actually from Colorado. I'm leaving next month because it gets too fucking cold, and I'll be back in April or May."
Which is that's crazy. Like I'm gonna go winter in Colorado.
Oh yeah,
that's
there was
still like the snow in Colorado is still gonna go up to like your roof.
I met a guy from Colorado. I met a guy from fucking North Dakota, which same. I met a guy from Montana, same. Like they were all people from states with what you would consider pretty severe winters, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not staying here for this."
I like winter. I think I would. I'm just so fucking arrogant that I would go to Alaska to like winter it out just on fucking principle.
Yeah, and you'd be like 3 months in and be like, "What the fuck have I done?"
Well, no, so like a lot. Maybe you might not know this about me. A large part of my like legend in life, like my whole like upbringing, has been seasonal anxiety associated with cold. Because I had some very bad winters growing up in Detroit with my family. So we were poor and it was a bad time to be there anyway.
Sure.
But like when it's cold, I get real like nervous and like preparing,
like manic energy.
Yeah, like something's coming, like I gotta prepare for something. And I've always wanted to just fucking stick it out, like just be a madman throughout like a 7-month all dark winter and just like see if I can make or break it.
Well, listen, by the end of this episode, we're gonna find out what might be coming for you during that 7-month period.
Dun.
First, we are going to start with New York, which is kind of perfect because I can do my fucking Jersey Guido voice the whole time. Hey, whoa. What are you doing? And because I'd certainly never fall into that fucking character way too frequently already. You know what's funny? You and I were talking about this recently, and I was saying that I have no idea why I lean on that character so heavily in the podcast. I've been able to do that impression for a long time, but like I've never leaned on it the way that I do. Like out of my plethora of impressions that I can do, that's never been like a go-to. But at some point in this podcast, it became like what everybody sounds like, to the point where I think I did it. I can't remember what episode it was, but I did it for somebody in the South, a place where I grew up, a place where I feel very comfortable imitating the fucking country folk from here. And I did a Jersey Guido voice. So I don't know who the fuck knows, but you want to jump in?
About what?
Into the fucking some cryptids.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to jump in about your Guido accent.
Oh no.
Like I can, because I did have a point when I was in Massachusetts. I talked to a guy and like it was confirmed that he would drop in and out of like the Boston accent and just have like a non-regional dialect like most people most of the time, and then every now like something to annoy him and be like, "Oh, for schlugging a rock over here," I'd be like,
"It's fucking wicked, wicked hash."
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, "Are you doing that on purpose?" He goes,
wicked
"Yeah,
fucking
hash.
Yeah,
we all think it's funny, so we do it." I was like, "I fucking knew it."
Well, all right. The first thing that we're gonna tackle from New York maybe is not considered a cryptid per se, but it's at least cryptid adjacent in that people have been talking about it for nearly 100 years. Lots of people think it's real. And yet no one has taken photographic evidence to prove its existence.
Michael Bloomberg.
Talking about sewer gators.
Sewer gators?
Sewer gators. They're down there, I swear to God. They're going to come up and bite your fucking balls. All right, so the whole rumor of sewer gators started back in 1932, right? This is the original sewer gator story. Couple of kids fishing in the Bronx River, I guess back when that was a thing.
I mean, in the 30s, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, no, there's probably bodies and shit in there too.
In the 1930s, for sure. There was some gangland shit going on in New York.
Yeah, you had fucking Harlem Renaissance was up there. You had all kinds of shit going on. It was a thriving place to be. Factory work, Bronx, was all factories and shit. So, a lot of industrial runoff
So, a couple of kids are fishing in the Bronx River, and they quote unquote caught a gator, right? So they bring this gator, which they killed, to the police station, and they claim that they had seen a bunch more gators in the river, right? So the cops were like, "Oh fuck, there's gators in the river." So they mobilized. They went out to the Bronx River. They searched everywhere. They could not find anything to suggest that there were fucking live gators in there, right? But that didn't stop the local papers from running stories about how the Bronx River was fucking infested with alligators.
Spinning newspaper coming up is gators in the Bronx River. The populace in danger. Where's Spider-Man?
And even the kids said that they saw like 3 more, right? Mm-hmm. But the fucking newspapers were like, the Bronx River is full of fucking gators.
Which is like, I mean,
watch your balls.
It's funny living in Florida because so when I travel for work and I go up to,
it's such a non-issue here.
We don't give a shit.
And everyone else is like,
I mean, all you do is not go you don't go in a pond, whatever. It's fucking, you know, don't bring don't let your children walk near the banks of the little reservoirs in Disney.
Oh, God.
But for the most part, it's like we go out to the springs and stuff, right? And like, even if you see them all the time, see a great big gator in the spring that you're like swimming in, you might not want to swim like right near it, you know. But like, if it's not 8 feet long, you'll be like, that's fine.
Oh yeah. I've been in the water so many times next to fucking 5-6 foot gators.
Yeah, they're like whatever, like, you know.
And you know when you're like in the pool with your friends and you do like the water push,
into
their face, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and
that's what you do. And they go under, and then you kind of you start treading kind of backwards just in case they come at you.
Like when I've been in New England and I say I'm coming from Florida, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you got alligators down there," and I'll be like, "Yeah, you know, I swim with them sometimes." I'll be like,
now, by the way,
kayak near them, and they'll be like, "What are you crazy, Florida man?
It's a fucking dinosaur. Get it out of here." We used to have them in the Bronx River. I will say, I'm not trying to be cocky about being in the water. I will say this definitively: a 6-foot gator in the water will fuck me up and kill me. And but the thing is, it's not going to come after me because most of the gators
the likelihood of an alligator
and happy and are not going to go after something.
You go swimming in like the Florida springs. There are particular springs that you can swim in that make more sense to swim in than others. There's some that are like, you can fucking kayak out there or whatever, but like probably don't want to like jump in and go swimming too much because it's unrestricted. There's a lot of there's natural stuff going on out there. But like the other ones like Ginny Springs, stuff like that. I mean, there's so many people there. I've
seen them all over Ginny too.
Oh, I'm saying like there's so many people there that like any alligators that are actually in that water are so fat already. There's,
and I mean, how many people are in that river?
Hundreds.
Yeah. So, Riley, what are your odds of being the person that the gator pulls in?
Never tell me the odds.
So, okay. Like I said, there's also a New York Times article from 1935, right? So this is 3 years after the first story about the Bronx River being inundated with fucking gators. They're fucking crawling over each other. They're trying to get your fucking balls, right?
They're trying to get your fucking balls. Like, that's the motivation. The gators are here.
That's what that guy's motivation is. That guy, my Jersey Guido that's
not
all he cares
again.
About. My balls. Listen, when I sit on the fucking toilet, what's the first thing a gator coming up through the fucking sewers is gonna bite?
Manja, manja, manja.
Not my delicate calamaris. So, like I said, 3 years later, the New York Times runs this article.
My delicate calamaris? What the fuck? Hey, mama! Fucking gators coming up here for our sausage.
So, 3 years later, there is another story that runs in the New York Times, right? Where some kids in Harlem were shoveling snow into an open manhole and discovered a 7.5-foot gator thrashing around down in the fucking sewers, right?
Shit.
Like they're shoveling the fucking snow and then they hear all the sign.
It's fucking cold up there.
Exactly. So the story goes that they used a fucking clothesline to lasso it and somehow pull it up out of the sewer.
This kid's pretty badass.
Okay. How far is it from the fucking manhole cover down into the sewer?
Well, I mean, I'd figure manhole cover. Maybe if they're throwing snow into it, they're probably throwing it into a grate. because they've got like sewer
No, it was
gratings.
an open. It was an open. Like they pulled a manhole cover and they're dumping the snow down into the manhole cover.
Okay, well, like you've got those in the city. You've got those big open gratings, and you can see down maybe 8 feet.
Yeah.
And you can see like there's water collection.
I know what you're
talking
about. Yeah.
So that's probably more.
Listen, all I'm saying is they used a clothesline to lasso this thing and pull it out of the sewer. Then they fucking killed it with the shovels that they were just using to shovel snow.
Now that's badass.
Because I guess, well, the story, again, in the New York Times at the time, the story is one of the kids went to pull the lasso off of it, and it snapped at him, and they were like,
beat it to
hey,
death
yo,
with shovels.
whoa, hey, what are you doing? We just pulled you out of the fucking sewer, you piece of shit. And then they just went at it with fucking shovels.
Nobody snaps at my buddy, not in my town.
At some point, the Department of Sanitation came to get it and bring it to a fucking incinerator. But nobody took a photo of this thing. I get it's 1935.
And nobody got cameras in 1935.
You don't think a fucking 7.5-foot gator in a fucking sewer in Harlem, every goddamn newspaper would be like, oh, you gotta go get the scoop. You know what I mean? Like,
Parker, get out there. The Daily Planet doesn't have. It's not Daily Planet. It's fucking Bugle. The Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Daily Bugle doesn't have a picture of that lizard. Then you're fired.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, so there was never a photo. Nothing. It was never confirmed. The Department of Sanitation said they brought it to an incinerator, and there she goes. Right. Here's all I'm saying. An average American alligator at 7.5 fucking feet weighs about 200 pounds.
Yeah, 4 kids. You can pull 200 pounds. Maybe not with a clothesline.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A bunch of kids pulled it probably, let's say, 8 to 10 feet up through a manhole cover using a clothesline. By the way, after one of them fashioned a slip knot and shimmied it down and got it around the gator somehow, a thrashing gator is just going to let you get this thing perfectly around it.
I mean,
in
also,
a place where you can cinch it tight and pull it up.
The thrashing is an interesting point because we all know alligators are cold-blooded. It's snowing. They're probably cold. That thing's not fucking moving at all.
Right. Well, so
like legitimately, that cold, you could probably go smack it in the face and it wouldn't move. It's just
after you threw a bunch of fucking snow on it, for sure. So I don't know.
It's still in the water in the sewer outside where it is just snowed. It's gonna be cold as hell.
I don't know how fucking believable this is.
I like it.
That story, at least. But
because the legend is that people would get baby alligators.
Yes,
right on vacation.
Okay. Yeah.
Clarissa explains it all. Yeah.
Did they do that in Clarissa Explains?
She had a baby alligator.
Melissa Joan
named
Hart
Elvis.
Huh.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. So there was, though, an 18-inch, 1.5-foot gator under a car in Queens in 2010, and there is photo proof of that.
Yeah, sure.
That was a thing where but nobody saw it like crawl out of the fucking sewer or anything. Like,
I mean,
it
fucking. Have you ever been?
Somebody saw.
You ever been to Queens? You know how many fucking people are in Queens? It's crazy. Like
weird exotic animals.
They've all got weird houses with basements and shit.
Yeah.
Like that's the shit about New York that really fucking blows my mind. Is that like okay, if you're in Brooklyn, Manhattan, or whatever, you see all these high rises and you got walk ups and apartments and all that. You go into Queens, like out around Astoria and then into like Jamaica and all that. Mm-hmm. It's houses and they're fucking jammed together, but they're 2-story houses with basements.
Right.
So they're like fucking gigantic. Like in Florida, we only have 1-story homes. Right. Like for the most part.
Nah.
I mean, they're here and there, but like the majority of homes are like primarily 1-story, no basement. So like if you go into Queens, they can be hiding all kinds of crazy shit.
And have been.
Basement victims all over the place. Yeah. Meth labs, fucking whole grow operations. Sure, you have an alligator or two, whatever.
Yeah, well, so yeah, there was that in Queens in 2010. There was also a 2-foot caiman in a lake in Central Park back in 2001 that took weeks to catch. And that was a confirmed thing. It was a caiman.
Well, I mean, they've got a zoo in Central Park, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've got any reptiles, though.
Well, a caiman would come from South America. They're not indigenous to... they might be indigenous to parts of the U.S. I'm not sure. But, I don't know. The theory, if you believe
I don't know if you know this, but the animals at the zoo are not usually indigenous to the zoo.
I don't think it came from the... I feel like if it came from the zoo,
Hold on a second. These monkeys aren't from this zoo.
Listen, if it somehow got out from the zoo, somebody would have been like, we're missing a caiman. We need to look around.
No, like someone would have written a children's book about it. The alligator that had escaped from the zoo.
Cassie, the missing caiman. In Central Park.
Makes friends with the ducks. There's like a crazy catfish in there. You know?
Cassie goes to Florence. Carolina, not Italy.
Yeah. Swimming around, Rudy Giuliani's swimming in there.
All right. So in theory, if you believe the myths, the theory is that back in the 30s, like you were about to say, rich New Yorkers would take their whole fucking families to Florida for vacation, and then they would come back with a baby alligator for some reason for the kids to keep it as a pet. And then, when it would inevitably get too big or do wild animal shit or both, they would just like set them loose or in some stories flush down the toilet.
Oh dear, the alligator has bitten off Tabitha's fingers.
Yeah, and then
drop it in the sewer.
Call the doctor. Tabitha's fingers have been bitten off. 'Twas the gator.
When I was a kid, I visited Florida.
Do British people say alligator funny?
Alligator. I don't know.
Alligator.
I think they say alligator.
Alligator.
Yeah, there you go.
Alligator was some. I actually met a woman from South Africa who said it that way.
Alligator.
Alligator.
But
she might have just been. She was a wacky lady.
She might have just been dumb.
No, she was definitely wacky. I was going to say she might have just been wacky, but she was wacky.
Do David Attenborough.
The alligator.
No, see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much, if you need to pronounce something British, it's aluminum. Aluminium.
Yeah.
It just rolls right off the tongue as David Attenborough.
Once Mr. and Mrs. Higginbotham's backs were turned, the alligator bit off Tabitha's fingers
in a display of carnality.
So yeah, once they would get to a certain point where it was like not practical to keep this fucking wild animal fucking dinosaur that you bought in Florida on vacation for your child, they'd get rid of them where they could only survive the winter if they were in the warmer sewer systems, right? Now, if you ask somebody from the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, that's the department that oversees the maintenance and function.
Sound like G-Men to me. Sound like X-Files cover-ups.
Yeah.
Department of what?
They're the ones in
bullshit.
charge of the maintenance of the New York sewer systems. They will tell you categorically that
they don't have kill teams that go down through the sewers with flamethrowers like the movie Species.
They have zero record of there ever being a gator in the New York City sewer system. Right?
Because they burned the records.
Well, if you ask most zoologists, they will tell you that survivability is possible down there. There's food, there's rats. Gators are pretty good at hunting at night with no light. But they cannot digest food below 50 degrees. And even with the sewer being warmer, it still gets below 50 in the wintertime, right? So the theory is that they wouldn't be able to digest food once the winter came. Also, the sewer doesn't have the proper environment for them to lay eggs.
What about...
There's no riverbanks or vegetation or anything like that. So survivability in the short term is possible, but it wouldn't be sustainable in the long term.
What about around like those subterranean boilers that make all the steam that blows out of the manhole covers?
Yeah, maybe. I will say this. To me, right, knowing all this information, I would say alligators have been around almost entirely unchanged for like 30 million years. And there was like a fucking ice age 20,000 years ago that they somehow figured out how to survive.
This just in, folks. Producer Drew has fetched us a twirling newspaper with a picture of the 8-foot alligator in Harlem.
That's not 8 feet, I'll tell you that much.
That's like 4 feet. But
that's a 5-foot gator.
But that is a little more believable, huh? Look at that kid. Look at the kid, a little newsy cab. He's like, yeah, this is my alligator.
That kid's name is like fucking Salvatore Domenico.
This is my alligator. I got him out of there with a clothesline.
Yeah, I used to clothesline, pa.
Listen here, copper. What do you hear? What do you say? Hey,
I was shoveling the snow because my abusive dad was off at the fucking factory.
We were playing basketball down at the athletic club.
I was already a pack of smokes in.
Hey, screw, why don't you?
So, like I said.
Oh, dude, this kid's name? Frank Longo. Longo, baby, Longo.
Longo, baby, Longo.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Here's the other name.
Yeah.
Salvatore Conchalucci. Conchalucci?
I'm pretty sure that I remember. I'm pretty sure that
Conchalucci.
somehow it embedded in my brain from doing the research.
Right.
That there was a kid named Salvatore.
Maybe. Frank Longo and Salvatore Conchalucci.
So, all right. Like I said, if you're asking me, the thing about evolution is that, shit makes you change. If you have not changed in 30 million years, as alligators have not done, in spite of a fucking ice age 20,000 years ago,
right,
that they somehow managed to fucking survive, I would say you're fucking, what the fuck is the universe going to throw at you because you have fucking weathered every goddamn storm for 30 million years and you're still like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah, until you run into Salvatore Consalucci.
And Frankie Longo. Hey, Ma, bring me a clothesline. There's a fucking gator in there. Bring me another pack of Pall Malls, too. Shut the fuck up, Ma. Bring me the shit I asked for. That is my Harlem Child from the 1930s.
Not bad.
Who has the same amount of bass in his voice at 10 years old that I do now. So anyway, like I said, if 30 million years unchanged by evolution, you're capable of some pretty gangster shit. So maybe they're down there. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, that brings us to the end of sewer gators, and now we're going to get into real, actual things that don't exist.
This did exist. We have pictures.
Yeah, that's true. We got pictures.
This just in.
So, this one is called Behemoth.
Behemoth.
And I'll tell you the etymology of the name here in a second. So, I don't really know what the fuck to say about this one. It's essentially a fucking, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 words, 2 adjectives, and you guess what it is. You guess the noun at the end, right?
Okay.
It's a hyper-intelligent, 2-headed blank.
Cow.
Trout.
Wow.
A hyper-intelligent
trout.
2-headed trout. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing the name right. I think it's Behemoth. So it gets its name because it's been sighted at the fork of the Beaverkill River and the Willowamock Creek. Mm-hmm. So there's this confluence of 2 waterways here, right? And there's like a swirling
that's
bullshit.
Traditionally where
I fuck broads every time I fucking get one away from a boyfriend. The Beaverkill.
No, I was gonna say where somebody struck out real bad. The lady was all ready to go. They made some dumb comment, and she's like, "Ugh, you're such a beaverkill."
Hey, you want to see the fedora I was wearing when I caught that gator at 10 and killed him with a shovel? A shover?
Salvatore, you're such a beaverkill.
Oh, you're such a beaverkill, Salvatore.
Take me home. I never should have left Frankie Longo.
So, like I said, it's a fucking 2-headed smart fish.
Which is cool. I'm into that. So it's like a dolphin of some kind?
Fuck you. So the legend goes as far back as the early 1800s. And
the mists of time, apparently. The legend of the 2-headed trout.
All the way back from 200 years ago. Apparently, this thing was just a normal-ass fucking trout who couldn't make a decision on which river to swim down, and so it just popped the fucking just popped the second fucking head out. And I've got to say, having met several trout in my lifetime, I didn't know that trout fucking worried about such trivial things.
I think they just kind of go bloop, 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 and just swim wherever.
But Behemoth has been busy in the last 200 years or so. It's apparently 12 feet long.
Holy shit.
And its heads operate and think independently and communicate via a language of clicks and whistles.
Yeah, you're going to whistle with fish lips?
Then that means I think I've figured out which stream I want to swim down now.
It always just means go right.
You're the one on the right. You always say that. I want to go left.
Oh.
Yeah,
I like that one better than like the Snolligaster,
yeah, Snolligaster was stupid.
The Snolligaster sucks.
I love it. I love Snolligaster. I think maybe kind of because it's a fucking cyborg, apparently. and also that it pissed you off so much. I think endeared it a little bit to me. But yeah, with a fucking death spike on its back,
you
gotta go back to
tail.
You gotta go back to Cryptids 1 for that one. But
Beamok at least has got a little juice in terms of just being a freak.
Well,
which is cool. A 12-foot trout though, that's a big fucking trout.
Hyper intelligent, 2-headed trout.
How do you? Where's the discernment for the hyper intelligence?
I don't know.
Though?
I don't have a story for that. Well, actually, no, I do. There's a thing that it did. Okay, so we've got an eyewitness account, quote unquote, from 2000, right? So this guy claims to have almost caught it, right? No fisherman's ever said that before.
That's a hell of a fucking fishtail.
Yeah, right. So according to the story, a guy named Phil Dahlie, Dahlie, Dahlie. I'm going to call him Phil Dahlie. He was standing in this pool, this confluence of these two rivers, right? And he's standing there right at midnight, right? Probably looking like something out of a fucking LL Bean catalog. And he was there at midnight because that's right when trout season opened up, right? So this Phil Dahlie's a real go-getter. He's like, I'll be there right when it starts.
I think that's bending the rules a little bit there, Phil. I feel more like he was already fishing.
I actually 100% agree with you, but more on that later. He cast out some pheasant tail, something or other fly. He's fly fishing. And, he snagged the big one. And he could tell it was big, apparently 12 fucking feet long. unless we're talking about son of Beamok. But he felt something big hit the line on his fly fishing rod. And, so he starts reeling it in. And suddenly out of fucking nowhere, this fish breaches the water. And he saw, I guess, the majestic Beamok soaring out of the water, and then he lost it. And then it came. Apparently, he claims that the second head bit the lead line to save the first head that had been hooked.
Ooh, team attack! I like it.
There's your hyper intelligence, right? That's a wicked fucking smart fish.
Yeah, it's
that's
smart,
Boston.
Smart enough to fucking eat a owl feather fly or whatever.
It's pheasant tail.
Fly. Yeah. Okay.
And Phil Dahlie lived to tell the tale.
I like how this happened 1 second after the season started.
Yeah.
Also, Beamok sounds a lot like just a fish.
Yeah. I almost left this one off because it's a river monster, and every time I'm like, oh well, this one's kind of funny and interesting. It's ultimately just a fucking fish, like you said. So
yeah, anything that really just lives in water all the time is essentially a fish.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to believe that fucking Phil Dahlie saw this flopping in the air fish at midnight in a cold ass river in New York in March,
sparkling in the month.
I don't even believe that he waited for trout season to start at midnight. Honestly, I don't believe
no, he's full of shit.
Yeah, did you, Philip? Did you fucking wait, Philip?
Did you,
Phil Dahlie? He already had a fucking cooler full of trout and was ready to go home before midnight. Let's be honest.
It's like he's that guy that's like that story about the fish and wildlife person that comes up to the guy who's got the bucket full of fish.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you can't catch these, it's off season. He goes like, no, these are my pet fish.
Oh my God.
What? He goes, yeah, check it out. I'll put them in the river and I whistle and they come right back to me. He goes, no way. So he goes, yeah, check it out. And he dumps the bucket in there. And he's like, well, you gonna whistle and have them come back? And he goes, whistle at what? What are you talking
about? Stupid fuck. Yeah, I believe that 11:45 Phil Dahlie was already figuring out what the correct fucking ice to fish ratio in his cooler was, because he's like stuffing them in there and he's like, I gotta get rid of some ice.
What year was this?
How much is enough ice? 2000.
Oh, this was in 2000. This is a contemporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was high on PCP.
At midnight, because he's fishing at midnight?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be high on something to go fucking fishing. No, that's not true. I used to go fishing.
Hula hooping in that river.
I used to go night fishing back in the day when I had time.
I used to go night swimming.
Such frivolous things.
Night swimming, like that song REM.
Yeah, where?
Just wherever.
You're not a great swimmer.
I'm not a great swimmer. I can swim.
Not in the ocean though.
I've swum in the ocean at night.
Yeah?
Yeah, I get bit by little things.
What?
You never get little nips?
No.
Yeah, because fucking bioluminescent shit fucking nips at stuff at night.
I must take a look at me and go, get the fuck away.
Yeah, probably.
Smells terrible. He's look at all these oils coming off this guy. Get away from it. It's fucking toxic. All right. This one, try this one on for size, bud. Oniaten.
Oniaten.
Oniate or oniaten? Oniate. Oniate. I'm going to call it Oniate. It's Oniate. But I have
Oniate.
That's that fucking Oniate.
Oniate.
It's a Native American thing. So
I love Native
I have the
American
pronunciation. I know you do. I have the pronunciation on here, and I have Oniaten. So I think that maybe has something to do with the, whatever native dialect.
I bet it's just the like a lot of native dialects just like the end of their words just end in like a close.
Yeah, it's a very
a close.
Yeah.
Oniaten.
Oniaten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead of pronouncing instead of pronouncing the N, it's like Oniaten.
I just didn't want to get too Latino with it and be like Oniate. You know what I mean? So I specifically put it here. So anyway, that's the name of this next guy, right?
You get really Japanese with it.
Oniate. So it comes from Cayuga or Seneca tribal folklore, and it translates to dry fingers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like I said, try them on for size. You want to try those
try
on for
some
size?
dry fingers?
Nobody likes a dry finger. You got to spit on them first.
See, it's not my fingers that are dry, it's you.
Yeah, blame. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's my fingers.
The blame game is really where you get.
Great.
Yeah.
Just like Salvatore said.
I should have stayed with Salvatore. You're a beaver kill. So, Oniate is a dead, floating, vengeful. You want to guess the noun again?
Hold on a second.
Disembodied.
Trout.
Hand.
Oh, shit.
It's just a dead, floating, vengeful, disembodied hand. Yeah. You thought I was just going to give you the fingers. I'm giving you the whole fist. You're getting a whole fisting here.
That most often seen by the residents of Sim City. Just floating that little cursor around.
So Oniate is said to just, I guess, float around upstate New York, and the legends of Oniate vary, especially as far as...
Salvatore, your fingers are dry. What do you mean? My hands are on the steering wheel.
I'm at 2 and 10, baby.
Dum, dum, dum. Ah! Oniate 2.
That's what they use to get the gator up.
Salvatore
Salvatore befriends Oniate, and then they end up pulling that gator up together. Pull that picture up. Is there a fucking floating vengeful hand in the background?
No, there's not. There's just this what looks like a alligator
and a bunch of fucking newsies.
What's that thing that alligators lay eggs with?
Their cloaca.
Cloaca. Yeah, there's a big alligator cloaca. It looks like Salvatore.
Oh no. This isn't too dry, is it?
I've been practicing, babe. I'm telling you.
Oh my god! Did we just make Salvatore spit on an alligator pussy?
No, not unless you say it like that.
I did. I said it. Oh, gross. Okay.
No, hey, babe. I've been practicing. Honest, just bring me a cloaca. I know all about it.
I need your cloaca to bloom for me, okay? Nothing gets me going like a blooming cloaca.
Oh, God. No. Blooming cloaca now available at Outback Steakhouse. Fuck.
Okay. We gotta get this fucking shit on the road.
We're done. Fucking end this episode. That's enough. This is our flagship.
So, okay. Let's focus. So, like I said, this fucking dumb hand floats around New York. Now, legends of Oniate vary, right? Especially as far as what pisses it off enough to attack you, because it's gonna fucking attack you. Just
no
FYI,
napkins.
Right? In some versions, Oniate sticks to abandoned areas or places where humans are forbidden, and it only attacks you if you tread where you shouldn't. I'm guessing cemeteries or some fucking shit like that, right?
What kind of attack are we talking about? Is it open hand slap, the backhand? Does it punch you in the mouth? Does it just start
it's
fucking...
like Three Stooges, like
bing, boing,
yeah.
Bing,
So if
boing.
you put your hand on the bridge of your nose, it can't poke your eyes out.
That plus the spinning newspaper, we're just like doing a lot of like Sam Raimi fucking.
But if you put your hands up in time to block the 2 fingers from poking your eyes, then it just turns around and flees really quickly, and you just hear. That's it.
Run it on 2 fingers.
So
yeah, because with the one hand, it can't do the defensive 2-finger eye poke.
Nope. It could do this.
That's its big
it could do like
weakness.
the metal. Maybe that'll get around it.
I still think the width of the hand kind of like gets that.
We'll practice later. some accounts are that it only goes after people who are in places where they shouldn't be, right? And then sometimes it's actively looking for wrongdoers, right? Sometimes it goes after people who spoke ill of the dead. Sometimes it goes for those who spread rumors and discord within the tribe. And sometimes, and I cannot overstate how much this one is my absolute fucking favorite, it goes after someone who's nosy about other people's business.
Wow.
So Oniate is kind of a petty bitch.
Yeah, why don't you mind your own fucking business, or I'll send the Oniate after you.
Right. So now, just
punch
FYI,
you in the dick. I like how it's a superhero.
So yeah, right. So just to get back to your point, when it does strike, it's got options, right? It's not just a one-trick pony. It's got multiple attacks, right? So depending on how it feels, I guess, about how badly you've acted, it can finger you in a few different ways. It can either infect you, not entirely sure with what, some incurable shit, right? It can infect you. It can blind
just gives
you.
you a yeast infection.
Oniate, did you wash yourself? So it can infect you. It can blind you, or it can kill you.
The blinding, knock, knock, knock.
Those are yeah. If you don't put your hand up in time, you can blind. Yeah, those are the three options: infection, blindness, death.
Tight.
Depending on how much you piss. Do you think it can communicate?
Sign language.
Like, are there? Here's my thing, right? Okay, hear me out here. There are too many reasons for an Oniate to come after me, right? I'm confused about the rules.
Yeah, it's like, 'cause you're a hating ass bitch and you didn't stay out of anyone's business.
Listen,
so now the Oniate's after
how
you.
do I, or anyone for that fucking matter, learn a lesson, right? If it's just a hand that's coming out and it's just like, bah, now you got a thing, right?
And then it's got to say something. Oh, I know how. I know exactly how. See, when Oniate closes its fist and turns its hand to the side, it's a little, hand becomes a little mouth.
Hello,
it's all right. It's a me.
I actually have that in my notes. Does it turn into a little hand puppet and talk?
It's a me, Cacciatore. What's his name? What's it called?
All I'm saying is, if I'm gonna get Oniate'd, I'd at least like to know.
It's me, Oniate.
Yeah. If I'm gonna get Oniate'd, I'd at least like to know, like, I'd at least like to be able to tell me in sign language why I'm being fingered, and then maybe I can clean up my act if I'm not. I guess if it doesn't choose death for me. But
it's a me. I drew eyeballs on my hand. It's a me, Oniate. You need to stop doing what you're doing.
We're gonna keep talking shit. There's gonna be a fucking Oniate hovering outside the fucking studio when we leave.
This is the true story. Absolutely true story. I planned for many years to get eyes tattooed on my hand so that I would always have the ability to make this little puppet.
Yeah.
Right?
What's stopping you? You're still alive.
My wife,
and you don't.
My wife threatened to leave me.
Over that?
Because you know, I would never stop. I would never stop, right? And here's the thing. I personally would still do it anyway because I'm like, fuck, I would have lived my life. Except when I think about it, I realize that I would drive myself insane having a little guy on my hand all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what are you sad about, my friend? I'd be like lighting him cigarettes and shit. Yes, live and let live. You and I
Jesus
together.
Christ.
You didn't need that woman.
I tried to find an eyewitness account of Oniate. I looked online, and as far as I can tell, it's mostly just a native legend told to children to, I guess, get them to behave and be respectful and mind their fucking business. Because if you fucking mind people's business, Oniate is gonna get you.
It's like the native version of like the fucking like the claw from Liar Liar. Just like, oh, he's been disobedient. Look here, it's Oniate come to beat your ass.
Either way, I guess it's kind of cool. On to the next one. Have you heard of the Manhattan Monster?
Was my nickname in high school? Hold on a second.
God damn it.
Manhattan Monster.
We're too in sync.
We did. I
have a joke. I
already mentioned Rudy Giuliani.
It's also known as the Beast of Brooklyn. This is a carcass.
A carcass?
It's a carcass that washed up under the Brooklyn Bridge in 2012.
Tight.
It's fucking weird looking. Look it up. Look up Manhattan Monster.
Manhattan Monster. All right. Man, this is just porn.
It's fucking weird looking. I stared at photos for a while trying to figure out what it is. It's about the size. So for those of you listening, it's about the size of like a medium-sized dog. It's hard to tell the scale in the photos. It's very fucking obviously bloated from being in water. It's totally hairless. The snout is kind of pig-like.
Oh shit, that's a dog carcass, dude.
The snout's kind of pig-like, but it looks like it might just be because it was like smashed up and like already decaying away. So like where the teeth are, the snout is not there. It's like way up further than that, right?
No, dude, this is a pit bull.
You think so?
Maybe a pig. It's a pig.
No, look at the feet. That's what the New York Parks Department came out. New York Parks Department came out and took it away, and they just like shrugged it off, and they were like, it's a pig. Just like literally just like they were like, it's a pig.
How big is it?
I don't know. It's hard to tell the scale.
I'm looking at the scale. It's a dog.
I think probably a dog.
Probably a dog. Probably like a pit bull.
They said it's a pig before they took it away and disposed of it, but a lot of the people who were there in that area and saw this fucking thing.
Zoologists say it might be a raccoon.
That's too big to be a raccoon.
I don't know, man. You know how fucking big
it does have raccoonish.
You know how big the rats get in fucking New York.
Drew's signing bloating over there, but it's fucking like long. It's too long, I feel like, to be a raccoon. I don't know. Anyway, the people, so like I said, the Parks Department was like, it's a pig. Don't worry about it. Load it up. Let's get rid of it. And the people there, if you look at the fingers on it, they look a little too long to be, so maybe raccoon. A big-ass raccoon.
Big-ass raccoon, maybe.
But the fingers look too long to be a dog, but it's definitely got individual fingers on its feet. Instead of, if it was a pig, it would have little clompers, little hoofs, right?
Other notable Manhattan monsters include the son of Sam, David Berkowitz, and Woody Allen.
Oh, adopted his daughter so he could fuck her. So
wait, Woody Allen did?
But yeah, so
I thought that was Steven Tyler.
It was. Oh my god, that wasn't his daughter. Oh god, maybe it was his daughter.
Dun dun dun. All right, moving forward.
Gross. Like I said, it's got these fingers and stuff. It just kind of adds to this enigma. It might be a big ass raccoon. It might be a dog that got chucked into the fucking river. I don't know, but apparently some New Yorkers freaked out about it and they were afraid to go out at night. And it also poured fuel on the fire, an event that happened 4 years ago in Montauk, New York, where some even fucking freakier thing washed up on the shore. And that thing was dubbed the Montauk Monster.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
And people were afraid to swim in the fucking water because they thought there was just like a whole school of them waiting to snatch them by the ankles. That thing looks crazy. It looks like a fucking eagle beak on it.
Ew, the internet wants to censor this image.
Why? Just a bloated carcass.
Oh, that shit does look crazy.
Doesn't it? It looks like it's got an eagle beak.
What's up with his eagle beak?
What are you, some kind of fucking griffin? Where your wings?
Nah, dog, this is another dog. It's just a fucking bunch of dogs.
With a beak?
It's not really a beak.
The one photo that I saw looked like
There's one photo that's got some beakage going on. This is just like the globsters that we talked about in the first episode, or the first cryptids.
Yeah. That just turned out to be like a squid.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of goop, washes up. People go, oh
goop.
my god! Yeah, St. Augustine had the St. Augustine sea monster.
Yeah, when things are in the water for a long time, they come out looking real fucking fucked up. So the next one we're going to talk about is the blob monster of Kinderhook.
Ah.
That was my nickname in high school. This one is kind of weird in that we have multiple quote-unquote eyewitness accounts spanning over 50 years, right? So firstly, this blob monster is a white, floating, amorphous blob that, as far as I can tell, everyone has run from and no one has actually had any contact with, right?
It's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. The first account came in 1962 from a 10-year-old boy named Bruce, which is not a thing you think about kids being named. Did you know a kid named Bruce growing up?
Bruce. No, I can't say I did.
Everyone named Bruce when I was growing up was a man, was an adult.
I have no idea. I honestly, I don't think I've ever met a Bruce.
Child Bruce.
I don't think I've met a Bruce at all.
I don't think. I think they come out as Bryans and then they evolve into Bruce.
I don't. Is there a shortening for Bruce?
Brew.
Hey, B-Dog.
A herd of brew.
Brucey. Don't let me down, Bruce.
A 10-year-old boy named Bruce Hallenbeck. He was in the woods with his cousin.
Yeah, that guy's name's just Hallenbeck.
Yeah.
Hey, Hallenbeck. Yeah, that's
probably.
Hey, Bruce. No.
No. Hey, Bruce, want to go play hide and seek? No, you don't.
Hey, Hallenbeck. Yeah, we have a good strong name like that. That's your last name. Your last name is like
a guy named Bruce is like, you kids want to play hide and seek.
Do you get 3 syllables in your last name? That's just what people call you.
Yeah. So Bruce Hallenbach was in the woods with his cousin, a Hallenbach girl named Chari.
Ain't no Hallenbach girl. You piece of shit.
Her name's Chari, which is not the name that you think of someone who's related to Bruce.
You should be Chari for that joke.
Chari. I'm very Chari. I'm profusely Chari.
Me so Chari.
Chari. I don't know how a Bruce and a Chari are cousins, but whatever. One of those parents was a hippie and the other was a fucking, I don't know, staunch conservative. According to his account, Bruce, they were playing in the woods when they heard a high-pitched whistling sound. They looked around and found the source to be a big white blob, quote unquote, peering at them from behind a tree. He later corrected himself and said it was leering, not peering, and that it had no eyes that he could see.
Well, then he's wrong.
So the kids ran back to their house.
Leering also is looking. You gotta have eyes.
No, leering is like, you
gotta have eyes to leer.
Standing over. No, you don't have to have.
Yeah,
eyes.
You gotta.
No, leering is like sort of like just.
No, that's looming.
It's looming. Looming and leering.
Looming and leering are not the same.
Are those
thing.
Different?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do have to.
You gotta like look. You gotta have this face
that, like, to leer.
That's like I'm looking.
Yeah, you're right.
At
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had leering and looming confused.
Because I know all about leering. Okay. I'm like King Lear.
Yeah. Stupid. I'm gonna throw a fucking can at your face. So
just like my traitorous children.
It wasn't. It wasn't peering, it was leering. And like I said, Bruce says it didn't have any eyes that I could see. The kids run back home and probably, I don't know, screaming and peeing the whole way. 2 years later, a man whose name I couldn't find anywhere was reportedly hiking in the woods when he too saw a big white blob floating toward him. So he ran away, and he was so terrified that he said he jumped a 6-foot pond, which I would argue you should call something other than a pond.
It's a puddle. It's like a big puddle. That's
part of like multiple accounts that I saw was him saying, I was so scared I jumped a 6-foot pond. And I'm like, that's a
Does that pond
ditch,
is that pond year round, or is that just wet because it rained?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Too wide to be a ditch, too narrow to be a pond.
6 feet wide. How deep is it? If it's under like a foot deep, then
that's not a pond.
That's not a pond, buddy.
Unless it's a koi pond. Were there big multicolored fish in there that made you feel so at peace?
Was this in someone's yard and it had been like delineated with like slate?
Yeah. Was there a big box of sand with lines, concentric lines in it, and just a rake sitting off to the side?
Was there an old Asian man teaching a child kung fu?
Yeah, in a kimono and a top knot. So he was so scared he jumped over the 6-foot pond, which, like I said, call it something else. Naturally, he never hiked those woods again, right?
It's an excuse to be a lazy piece of shit. Is what
no,
that is.
He did. He comes right back with his fucking buddy who didn't believe him. They come back together with, I shit you fucking not, shovels and pitchforks.
To what, kill and then bury it?
Maybe the quote-unquote pond he jumped was part of Shrek's swamp. I don't fucking know.
Did they bring torches?
Yeah. They're going to send this thing packing like Frankenstein's monster. Bring your pitchforks.
They nicknamed it the White Devil.
Yeah. So this time, apparently, the friend spotted the big white blob first, and he pointed out to his buddy. They both dropped their fucking villager weapons and ran like a bunch of pansies.
Aww.
Yeah. So that was in 1964.
Wannabe villagers.
That was in 64, right? So the first one was in 62. Then we've got the second one in 64. Then the third encounter either happened in, and I don't know why these accounts are different, but it was either in 64 or 78, right? 1964 or 1978. We're not sure. But two 14-year-old boys named Barry Scott and Russell Lee were out camping in the woods when they heard, quote unquote, tramping outside of their tent.
Did it sound like, oh, yeah.
Hey, boys, want to see my butthole?
Oh, hey, quit tramping out here.
We're trying to sleep in our tent. Quit tramping. God damn it, Mom. Oh, boy. All right. So they heard tramping, and I don't know how a fucking floating blob tramps, but...
No, usually the tramp does her thing, and then the floating white blob appears miraculously.
It's hard to aim it, too. You just never know where it's going to end up.
Just careening through the air.
Just keep it out of the hair. Anyway, I don't even know what the fuck tramping is, honestly. If you guys know what tramping is,
tramping is noisily walking through the woods.
Hey, watch out! I'm tramping here. So anyway, they peek out of the tent and they claim they both saw this blob. They say it floated more than it walked, but I guess their accounts were pretty identical to one another. Although Barry claims that it was bell-shaped, and Russell said it was shaped like the Virgin Mary. So I guess we know which one of them grew up in a church-going Catholic family.
Virgin Mary is kind of bell-shaped, in most Catholic imagery.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's funny because the one kid goes, it's a bell.
Also,
and the other kid goes, the
shape,
Virgin Mary. So shape, I know which kid had to go to church.
That shape, I'm sure we can all agree, is also like your iconic ghost shape.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's just like a bell-shaped cloth with a couple of eye holes. Boom, there's a ghost.
Strangely, we have no word.
That was your classic ghost.
Ghost. We have no word on whether they packed their shit up or if they just went back in their tent and were like, okay.
This tent will protect us from ghosts.
Lastly, our most recent sighting was in 2017. In 2017, a couple local boys, Owen Farley and Anthony Malinowski,
couple of kids from the neighborhood,
were on a late night walk together. There's a lot of man-on-man late night activities in this town.
Kinderhook is culminating in white blobs.
Kinderhook has a lot of man-on-man. The one guy saw it, and he goes back and gets their friend. They go in the woods. These two kids are fucking camping together.
Hey, I gotta show you something out here in the woods. It's
my big white blob. So Owen and Anthony are on a late night walk together. Kid saw the
Virgin Mary. He's like, what we did was wrong.
Yeah. Owen and Anthony are on a late night walk together.
These guys are fucking each other.
They both got a glass of Pinot Grigio. They're talking about whether Owen's going to be teaching for summer school once the semester's over, and whether Anthony can get, enough PTO for them to go to Italy for the summer that they've always imagined and finally do it right, quote unquote. No, they're on this late night walk, and they spotted a blob floating toward them. According to their story, the temperature dropped before they saw it. They heard loud, high-pitched screech, and then the blob appeared out of the woods.
On Alan's face.
There's no Owen's face.
Sorry.
You think Anthony's the top?
I don't. Whichever.
Owen Farley and Anthony Malinowski.
Yeah, Farley's probably taking it. You know what? Huh? That is such a misnomer. It's a mutual kind of
Malinowski.
They're probably both doing whatever.
Polish.
What?
You know what I'm saying. Yeah, Tony Malinowski.
Okay.
It's always the tough guys that want to take it.
I'm just saying, like
the tough guys always want to get fucked.
The top bottom thing is like that's not really how everything. I mean, it's occasional.
It is.
It is sometimes sometimes that's the case.
If you do both, you're called a versatile. I know this. I have gay friends.
No, I'm just saying, like in just like in any relationship, there's a lot of different factors. It's not just
listen. Obviously,
top,
if you've been
bottom.
Together for fucking decades and you want to spice things up, and then you're like, listen, Anthony, you're always the one getting fucked. Why don't you fuck me
for once?
Send your floating white blob up my ass, Tony. All right,
Tony.
So. According to their story, the temperature dropped before they saw it. They heard a loud, high-pitched screech, and then this blob appeared out of the woods. And they claimed it was around 7 feet tall, and it floated at them at a high speed. They, too, ran like bitches. So that's...
Everybody goes, oh, fuck!
That's all for New York.
Pretty much in the woods, if something shows up out of nowhere and goes, oh, no, then you go, oh, fuck, and you run away.
Yeah, but like a high pitch, like I don't know if it was a screech or like a whistle. I think it was more, the one kid said it was a whistle, and then they heard a screech. A screech and a whistle are different.
That's true. Maybe it was an owl.
All I know is that everybody ran like a bitch at a big white blob.
Yeah.
Way to go, New York. Well, it's Kinderhook, I don't know what those people are like.
Forget about it. It's Kinderhook.
It's a Dutch name with a Polish kid walking around at night.
What
with
are
his
you
buddy.
doing with this? What are you doing? Why are you keep doing this like Polish thing?
I don't know. I want to just toe the line. That's where people are like, is he about Polish people? I'm not gonna go over the line. I just want to toe it just to make people wonder. I know. I love Polish people. California. That's our next state.
California. I thought that was just the topic of many Red Hot Chili Peppers songs.
Yeah, actually. So the first one is
Anthony
Flea.
Kiedis.
No, he's the last one.
Oh yeah.
We've got Flea. We've got Will Ferrell's twin brother. We've got
Frusciante,
heroin guy, and we've got
Frusciante's really the heart of the Chili Peppers. That's a line
unless he's in rehab and what's his name from Jane's Addiction takes over for an album.
Dave Navarro.
Yeah.
The movie Knives Out 2 Glass Onion.
Haven't even seen Knives Out 1, and
they're good
and
movies.
I will watch it. I've heard they're
good movies.
I've heard they're good.
But there is a line that Ed Norton says because his character is like a stupid asshole, and he keeps playing.
What's the British guy that's in it? Bond.
Oh, Daniel Craig.
Who I said was a handsome guy, and you were like, is he?
He's got a face.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
That's what you said
I'm
in
saying, like,
Movie Mishaps 1.
He's got a face. I'll give him that. I don't know how good looking he is, but he looks.
He's got those eyes.
But you know what? I think that's kind of a marker. Like being a handsome movie star is really just based on whether or not you got a fucking like a face. You know?
Yeah, he's got a very intense stare.
Yeah. But in that movie, Ed Norton plays Red Hot Chili Pepper songs on an acoustic guitar, which is like an indicator of him being a stupid asshole. and at one point,
yeah,
like
I would
a
agree.
scene's starting and somebody's walking in, and he's got like this little like tagline that he's saying as the person walks up. He's like, Frusciante's really the heart of the Chili Peppers, and I think that's the best like character development line I've ever heard.
All right, well, listen, we all know that we're about to talk about California and their cryptids.
Gonna talk about California.
And we have California.
Got a cryptid California.
We're gonna talk about cryptids. We're gonna go to California for biscuits. I just wrote a Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
It.
I only have to write 18 more fucking verses.
Now you need the soft hook. What's the name of the cryptids?
I'm not gonna say the one that's first up on the list.
Say the first one.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say it in a second. Listen, California. That's our next state, right? Shout out California listeners. Sorry if we just offended you about your favorite band, because we all know that's probably every California is like Californian.
No, fucking.
Listen, they're stuck on the fucking 405 right now. They're listening to us. They're listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers on the other side.
Fucking.
They got a boombox in the back.
Dropkick Murphys, right?
Are they from California?
Yeah.
They're exhausting. I thought they were from Boston.
Maybe they're from Boston. They've
got to be from
I think
Boston,
somebody else.
yeah.
I think Rancid. Rancid is California.
Rancid is California.
Rancid's like LA punk, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, so is fucking Green Day.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, early Green Day. Counting Crows.
Ugh, gross.
Counting Crows fucking rules. Everyone knows.
Yeah, no, they don't. All right. Obviously, the fucking sheer size of California means that there are a stupid amount of cryptid legends. There are a lot of hilarious one-offs that we're going to talk about here. So many Bigfoots. So many fucking Bigfoots. Honestly,
it's Bigfoot country, moving up into Oregon.
They've got 4 or 5 regional Bigfoots, all with their own unique names and legends. There's the Idol Beast. There's the Borrego Sandman, who's like a desert Bigfoot. Also, he's AKA Ranchetti.
Ranchetti.
Which sounds like a new special at the fucking Olive Garden.
Just ranch spaghetti?
instead of pomodoro sausage, fucking slather it with ranch. Well, Olive Garden's very authentic. So they also have Yucca Man.
When you're there, your family.
They've also got river monsters fucking galore, right? You've heard of Nessie. What do you think they've got in Lake Tahoe?
Tahoe-y.
Tessie. I'll give you another shot. What do you think the name of the river monster in Lake Elsinore is?
The Elsinore Lake Monster.
Elsie. God damn it, you're bad at this.
All of the names I have posited are official cryptid style names.
You want to take
exactly
you got a third try. You want to take a guess at the monster in Lake Elizabeth?
Hold on. Fuck you.
Come on. You got this.
You said Lizzie. It's Lizzie.
It's
Bessie.
Satan's pet.
Satan's pet.
That's why I didn't want to tell you the first cryptid, because it would ruin my setup. So, Lake Elizabeth, which isn't...
I didn't know my ex-wife was a lake monster.
I saw her today. She looks great.
She's a lovely lady.
So Lake Elizabeth in LA County is it's something called a sag pond.
You're a sag pond.
So maybe it is your ex-wife. No, I'm kidding.
Whoa!
I had to make the joke. I'm sorry. It is along. So this is why this is what a sag pond is, right? It's along the San Andreas fault line, and it was created due to fault line activity. So as the tectonic plates along the fault line move apart, the ground sags in between, and groundwater seeps in. That's a sag pond, right? I haven't been in this one. I have dived the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is the gap between the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates.
Last week, Patrick dropped the lore that he's done like free diving and stuff, and now this week he is again mentioning that he's done like some sort of epic dive. Yeah, like this is a new character trait. We've known each other for a decade. Like, fucking, where the fuck?
The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is the gap between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. It was in Iceland I did this.
You fucking, what, was it a free dive, or did you do...
No, I was in a dry suit.
Okay, so he did tank...
Yeah, no, you're not free diving that fucking
thing. He
tank
dove fucking an Atlantic...
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Tectonic plate rift in Iceland.
It looks crazy in there. It's like, I have pictures. I'll show you pictures. It looks fucking insane. So... Satan's Pet is more of a water dragon than necessarily a river or lake monster.
Like the Pokemon. Fuck is that Pokemon? Gyarados?
Gyarados, yeah. Which evolves from a fucking dead goldfish. So
Magikarp's got stuff.
Yeah, okay. The story goes that so this one's got a long history, right? In the 1780s, some missionaries were in the river when this lake was created, according to the story. Probably not. It was probably there for fucking millennia before they were there. But according to the story, they were there in the 1780s when there was some tectonic shift. This sag pond was created, yada, yada, yada. A Spanish lieutenant named Pico was looking for... some missionaries in that area, and he offered his soul to the devil if he'd help him find the missionaries. Apparently, again, according to the story, the devil popped up out of the earth to collect Pico's soul, only to retreat when Pico brandished his crucifix. But the missionaries, he found the missionaries. The next morning...
No, it was too late. He already promised his soul.
The next morning, there's a lake where the devil popped out, and they named it Laguna del Diablo, which means
Lake of
the Devil's Lake. Yeah. From that point forward, there are a bunch of pretty wild, dare I say, unbelievable stories from the banks of that lake. Starting...
They built a bunch of banks around it?
Yeah. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, they're all right there.
Chase Laguna del Diablo.
Yeah, not
branch.
Chase Manhattan, Chase Laguna del Diablo. Starting in the 1830s, there was a man named Pedro Carrillo. He had a ranch there, and his ranch catches fucking fire, and he has to abandon it. He tells everybody that El Laguna del Diablo set his ranch on fire. That's just, The story is, this guy runs into town, he's like, my ranch is on fire. The fucking lake set it on fire. The Devil's Lake set it on fire. 25 years later, some white settlers try and settle in that area, and they end up abandoning the area, claiming that it's haunted. Another 25 plus years later, in the early 1880s, we get our first official, unofficial sighting, right? Gentleman named Don Chico Lopez and two other gentlemen claim that they saw a giant monster rise from the lake. It had giant bat-like wings and flippers instead of feet.
Sick.
A couple years after that, in 1886, a fellow named Felipe Rivera claims that a 40-foot creature came from the lake with big leathery bat wings and 6 legs and took several of his cattle.
The bat wings are a theme, huh?
Yeah. There's also an early written account from a book by Horace Bell, which was published in 1918, called On the Old West Coast. So Bell claims that he heard this account from the great-grandson of an early settler in the area named Guillermo Embustero y Mentiroso, right?
Right.
I know you don't speak Spanish, but any of our Spanish-speaking listeners right now are probably like, hey, hang on a second. Embustero and mentiroso are both Spanish words for liar.
Oh.
So I don't know if Horace Bell made this person up and was like...
Jerry the liar.
Yeah, I don't... yeah. William.
Yeah,
William. So I don't know if Horace Bell made this person up and was like...
Guillermo is William?
Yeah.
Why the fuck would that be?
I don't know.
It has nothing in relation to that at all.
Guillermo is the Spanish version of William.
That's dumb as shit.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't make it up. It wasn't me.
Should be Jerry.
So like I said, did Horace Bell make this guy up and he was like, these fucking honkies don't know Spanish? Or was Guillermo's great-grandson telling a story and chuckling like, this fucking honky doesn't know Spanish? Or if Guillermo was real, if he was a real person, and we're just supposed to be like, yeah, that was his name, but it was like about different stuff. It's fine. He was fucking a liar. I don't know. This motherfucker's name was Guillermo Liar Liar.
Wow.
Yeah, Liar Liar Lake on Fire.
Wow.
So the great-grandson's account of Guillermo Liar and Liar was that, quote, he saw a huge monster larger than the greatest whale with enormous bat-like wings. It would roar and splash the water with what appeared to be great flippers or legs, right?
Larger than the greatest whale. How familiar is this man with whales?
I don't know.
Because like a blue whale with
He's
bat
the great-grandson of an early settler in California. He's probably seen whales. There's whales off the coast of California.
Yeah, sure.
In L.A. County. The beach is right there.
Do you get like blue whales out there? Because that's a big fucking whale.
That is that's the greatest.
Where is the blue whale migratory path? That's the deep Atlantic?
I think Atlantic.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. I don't know much about fish.
I'm going to punch you right in the fucking temple.
For those not familiar with our Patreon topics, I have been getting the ire of both Patrick and Drew by claiming that all sea mammals are fish, which is a good bit, and I'm going to stick with it.
And it's so fucking infuriating. So infuriating. Okay, so this is from the manuscript left behind by Guillermo Liar Liar about how Lake Elizabeth was created by the devil, right?
Right.
That's where this account comes from, is that Guillermo's great-grandson had this account about how this lake was created by the devil. There's this big fucking, his pet is in there, and it's got fucking big old leathery bat wings, and it's a mean fucker, right?
Blue whales can be found in all the world's oceans except the Arctic. In the eastern and western stocks, large populations are found in the North Pacific, divided between the eastern and western stocks.
Okay. When you're that big, you go where you want.
Yeah.
So now we get to our main badass of this story, a guy named Miguel Leones, right? So
Mikey Leones.
Miguel is an immigrant from the Basque region of Spain, and he buys a ranch on this lake. And when he buys it, the previous owner tells him that there's a fucking monster in the lake, and he keeps stealing his cattle and scaring off his workers. And I got to fucking offload this thing, right? So Miguel's like, fuck it, I'll buy it, right? So he buys the ranch regardless. And before you know it...
That's a real Riley move right there. Yeah, like, fuck yeah.
Before you know it, his cattle start disappearing, and his workers tell him, hey, there's a fucking monster coming out of the lake and taking these goddamn cows. So Leones says, fuck this. I'll get his ass, I guess. I don't know. He camps out along the lake until he sees Satan's pet. This account comes from a 2005 book called Spooky California by S.E.
California! Spooky California!
Oh, my God. Let me tell you a little story where I'm born here. There's a place called Spooky California. Anyway, Spooky California is by S.E. Schlosser. So this is from this account about Miguel Leones. Quote, berserk with rage, the mighty Leones ran straight for the monster's head, roaring louder than any lion and letting off random shots with his rifle.
Hyperbolic, but okay.
Leones leapt right into its face, smashing the butt of its rifle against the beast's nose and forehead and putting his fist into its right eye.
He just starts,
Intimidated by the rancher's attack, the wounded monster retreated into the water and hid for months. So apparently Leones fucking destroys its eye with his fist.
It's supposed to be bigger than a whale.
Yeah.
That eye would be the size of like a fucking minivan.
Well, it's easy to hit. Nah.
Yeah.
So shortly after this, some locals saw the monster emerge from the water and fly east, where in 1890, a few years later, a newspaper from Tombstone, Arizona, reported that a couple of cowboys shot and killed a, quote, 160-foot crocodile with wings.
Wow.
And then we don't hear shit about the Lake of Elizabeth monster until 1989, so 100 years, almost 100 years later, when two fishermen claimed to see a monster, again, quote, bigger than a whale with wings like a bat, a head like a bulldog.
I mean, 160 feet's fucking big, dude.
Yeah. And they said it stank real bad.
And also, what is this flying situation? Okay, so the corroborating, you said it was New Mexico where the cowboy shot it?
Tombstone, Arizona.
Tombstone, Arizona?
Yeah.
So you got some corroboration.
So if it came out of the lake and it flew east, that's Arizona.
I mean, there it is. But like just an independent newspaper.
To go over New Mexico, but then
that is the best.
No, Arizona's next to California. Never mind. I'm an idiot.
But that is the best corroboratory evidence. Corroboratory?
Sure.
Corroboration.
Yeah, words all come from somewhere. If it wasn't a word before, it is now.
That's the most like, hey, we got some evidence here thing I've ever heard. But like also the newspaper that reports 160 fucking foot alligator with wings is like, that should be a sensation, right?
I mean, I don't know. Drew's the one over there on the computer, so if he finds it was in a newspaper, but I think it just said this was in 1890. I didn't find the actual newspaper article. I didn't even find what newspaper it was, but it said a newspaper in Tombstone, Arizona reported that a couple of cowboys shot and killed a 160-foot crocodile with wings. So, I don't know. That's Satan's pet.
Well, shit.
The demise of it and all. So, this one, I really like this one.
Okay.
This is the Fresno Nightcrawler, also known as the Fresno Alien.
Ah.
This one's considerably more recent, with the first sighting happening in 2007.
Okay.
So
not the best era of chili peppers.
So a guy named Jose, weird last name, Wellington, is sleeping. You don't think of it, Jose Wellington? A strange combination of names.
I guess. I mean,
mom was maybe Latina and dad was a puff pastry.
Yeah.
Was a Brit. So Jose Wellington,
the Duke of Wellington.
Jose Wellington is sleeping and he wakes up to the sound of his dogs barking, right? He gets up, he goes outside to check what all the fucking commotion is about. He doesn't see anything. So he calms his dogs down. He goes back to bed. And the next day he's like, I wonder what set them off. So he checks his camera. He's got a camera looking over his yard. And he sees possibly the funniest shit I've ever fucking seen. The Fresno Nightcrawler, which looks like white pants just walking around all stiff and goofy. And there's like super stiff and goofy looking. So apparently him and his brother go outside to inspect the area where this thing was walking around and they found small prints. So they...
Oh, fuck, it is just pants.
You see the video?
No, not yet.
You gotta find the video. There's a couple. There's two different videos. I'll pause. I'll pause while you look up the video. So yeah, now we paused for a moment while Riley and Drew both looked up the videos.
That's ridiculous as fuck.
So like I said, he and his brother go outside. They see some small prints. They send the video out to some inspectors who come out to investigate. I'm guessing some sort of fucking paranormal or cryptozoological inspectors.
A hardened, grizzled pants detective.
What do you know? By the
they
time
didn't look like khakis to me.
I don't have the exact month in 2007, but let's hope it was before Labor Day. Fucking white pants. We don't want this cryptid to fucking be committing a fashion faux pas. So by the time these inspectors came out, the rain had washed away the pants. It was like months later. So
the rain had washed away the pants.
The prints, I'm sorry. The prints. So they said they were like really small little prints. So
tiny little feet in those pants.
Yeah, little bitty feet. So
it's a fucking Pee Wee Herman character. Like
pantsy. So they send the video. Oh no, I already got to that. So and the original footage has been erased from the camera, meaning that all that was left was the phone video recording the computer monitor playing the video. If that makes sense. They have the phone, they're recording it with the phone. Yeah. So it's basically, for those of you who have not paused also to look this up, it's all legs and no torso or arms. And it walks with like this weirdly suspicious, like
marionette,
very
like,
unnatural,
blip, blip, blip.
super unnatural gait. So,
oh no, I'm pants.
Yeah,
I'm pants. Here I go.
Like So to be able to walk like that naturally, you'd have to be like leaned way back and your legs are doing something weird in front of you and your torso is just following.
Just doing a weird pants dance. Very David Byrne-esque kind of.
Yeah, you're 100% right. We've got one other video from...
Actually, if we roll the tape back and play that Talking Head song, I got a girlfriend better than that. And just imagine him doing a little pants dance. Yeah, that's...
Did you the video that you watched, was it 1 or 2?
Just one.
Just one. Okay, so we've got a second video from 2011 in Yosemite National Park where 2 of them are walking.
Get out of town.
A tall one and a short one. There's also a video from Montana and Poland, but I think both of those were...
Poland?
Yeah, Poland. I told you, this is fucking Polish, dude.
Worldwide phenomenon.
I was right to get on the Polish early on in this episode. So I think both of those videos have been debunked as hoaxes. The original 2 don't appear to be doctored, meaning if they're fake, someone figured out how to actually create these little guys. It's not like a video edit.
You're gonna hate this so much.
Yeah.
When you said debunked, you know what went through my head?
I cannot even imagine.
Grand Camp. remember Grand Camp? Was that Wacky Disasters?
Wow, you've got to be. Yeah, you got to be. No, that was
Wacky Disasters
1.
original.
Yeah.
Grand Camp.
It might have been 2.
Because we were talking about like the Texas oil refinery explosion, right?
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Maybe it was 2 then.
Yeah.
You got to be an old school listener to know Grand Camp.
Go back, check out the Wacky Disasters, and check out Grand Camp. That was a fun one.
So
Grandpa Joe. We're hitting all the. We're doing
debunked.
all the. We're doing all the hits.
That's the 3rd Grand Camp.
Yeah, Grand Camp debunked.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Grandpa Joe and Aunt what's her name, we got kicked out of Grand Camp.
Yeah, well, Grand Camp is being...
But they got to do a scheme to get back in.
Right,
they're going to do it.
Grand Camp is being bought by developers who are going to destroy it and put up condominiums.
So everybody's got to get together and they got to pull this cryptid scheme. So the developers will get scared off.
Somebody found Grandpa Joe's white pants.
Yeah,
and
he's got his white pants from the 70s.
And put together some wire hangers to make a little marionette.
Oh, because Aunt Phyllis, she used to do marionette stuff with the community theater back in Fresno.
Which there's some foreshadowing on that where during the talent show at Grand Camp, she does a marionette thing. Yeah, she's got a whole thing going on. So,
actually, how would we structure that? Actually,
so when they're coming up with their scheme,
I want to structure it though, so like that. So it shows them like how we got to do something.
Are we
gang.
gonna write Grand Camp?
We got to do something, gang. And then it cuts and we're just doing the pants dancing and stuff. And then later it's revealed that Phyllis has been working the pants.
No, they're trying to figure out the scheme on how to save Grand Camp.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it is. And somebody like puts the pants with the wire hangers in there, and they're like, Phyllis, you can control these, right? And she's like, I don't know.
So earlier,
I've never done anything that big.
Earlier at the talent show, she was trying to get the marionette thing going. And she's like, I don't know. My arthritis really has been acting up. And she's like, we were counting on you, Phyllis. And now she's doing the pants.
I've never done anything this big.
She's got 2 hands with multiple different strengths. And she's working a foot. And she's got it, man.
3 days to prepare for this.
She does it.
And we've got a montage of her trying and failing.
Just I picture Phyllis. She's got like her hair is curled. She got like doing her tongue out between her teeth. Like,
And during this montage, we see her like she keeps failing, and then as you get toward the end of the montage, which by the way is so Red Hot Chili Peppers song, she's kind of starting to get it right, and she's starting to, and everybody's watching. They're like, "Yeah, you got him, Phyllis."
To Under the Bridge.
Okay, all right. Like I said, it doesn't look like these are doctored in as far as like green screen stuff or anything like that, which means that somebody figured out how to actually like create this little illusion. It's an illusion, Michael.
Every time.
Not a bad Joe Bluth.
It's pretty good.
What's his name?
Dave.
No, it's not Dave.
Johnny.
Nope.
Will
Arnett.
Will Arnett.
Yeah. Will Arnett. A trick is something a whore does for money.
Guillermo Arnett,
yes. So, all right. To me, it looks like a short person wearing stilts with like parachute pants pulled up over their head. It does.
Yeah, I get it.
There's another theory that, and this is the one that I had not thought about, because at first I thought marionette, right? But then if you look at The one with the 2 has trees around it, so you can see, but they cover like a length that would be hard to marionette. And then the first one, the one with 1, is just there's no trees over that area, so that makes a marionette kind of. I mean, unless you have like a fucking crane or something, like it'd be a little tricky. Not to say there wasn't a crane off camera, it could have been, but the one that I didn't think about, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's smart. A balloon with some sheer fabric over it, and a remote control car at each foot, because that would make the legs go forward, and the balloon would constantly be catching up.
That is really good. I like that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, these guys think of everything.
Fucking Grandpa Joe, Phyllis, Grandma Janie. I'm trying to remember the Meemaw Rose. Yeah. They're all real clever.
Grandpa Joe.
He's got a RC car collection.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe's got a grandson.
His grandkids are cool.
His grandson Bruce is really into RC cars.
But Bruce doesn't come around too much because he can't really handle Grandpa Joe smoking.
Because he's a 10-year-old boy named Bruce.
Right, so he's got
and he's mad at his whole family.
He's like, Joe never figures out how to use the RC cars, so he's like, I gotta learn these so I can get my grandson back.
Yeah, but there's like one camper who's like 64. He's the young guy. He's the whippersnapper, and he's got it under control. He's like, I used to do that. I don't know if I can do 2 at the same time though.
No, Grandpa Joe's like, I can do it. I'm gonna. He figures it out.
Okay,
cigarette in his mouth, just like 2 controllers.
We also have an eyewitness account without any video from a, you would think, credible source. This guy's a 70-year-old ex-Marine in the Carmel area of California. I'm not saying that Marines
you couldn't get into Grand Camp.
So him and his wife were driving. They bought a house in the Carmel area of California. So this is his quote. Was that about caramel?
Yeah.
It's spelled C-A-R-M-E-L, caramel.
Spell it any way you want.
I don't like when people pronounce caramel caramel. It's caramel. It's got a second A in there.
Okay.
So
great. Right. You can not like stuff. Whatever.
We spell things a certain way for a certain reason.
Sure.
Anyway, this guy, this is his quote. We recently bought a place in the Fort Hill area in southeast Highland County. We first noticed after about 30 days of living here that we suddenly have a perfect circle that stays fresh green no matter what weather in our front yard. On Friday night, the 12th, we were driving home after turning onto Carmel Road.
Ooh, delightful.
A whole road made of caramel for me. So after turning onto Carmel Road, which leads to our road,
which leads to Chocolate Lane and Marshmallow Fluff Boulevard,
we went around the curve by the Carmel Church. A whole church made of caramel for me.
They worship at the altar of Carmel. The Lord made of hazelnut whip.
Sticky Lord, sticky, gooey, melty, delicious, sugary Lord.
Like when you're doing Michael Palin right now?
Maybe.
You know, Monty Python?
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, you are so big. So absolutely huge.
So after they went around the curve by the Carmel Church and then went up a small incline, I don't know why he's telling us the whole goddamn directions to his house, approximately 10 feet.
He's old. He's like, so I think you make a left up here.
After turning onto Carmel Road, which leads to our road, we went around the curve by Carmel Church and then up a small incline to approximately 10 feet over the incline, and in front of our truck, the alien ran across the road and into the woods.
You started off as the guy from Pet Sematary. You don't want to go down that road. Sometimes dead is better.
Yeah, I went from the old prospector to Oxford professor. Yes. The fucking thing ran in front of their truck and into the woods. And he called it an alien.
Sorry, I'm distracted so hard. Grand Camp threw me off. Like I always want to go too
It was
long.
a paragraph of directions to his house with the last sentence, the alien ran across the road and into the woods.
The alien ran across the road and into the woods.
It wasn't even a sentence. That was just the last, after the last comma, the last fucking 10 words. The alien ran across the road and into the woods. 10 words. That brings us to the end of the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Okay.
We got, I think, two more California. Two more California. This one's cool. This is The Dark Watchers.
The Dark Watchers.
The Dark Watchers.
Part 3 of the Watcher Saga.
This is a legend that goes back like quite a way. It's still in circulation today. So this is all centered around the Santa Lucia mountain range, which runs north-south along the Pacific Ocean in central California. It runs about 150 miles north-south, and it's never further than like a few miles away from the coast.
Okay.
It's also virtually impossible in certain areas to traverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't get over it. Early Spanish explorers had to go around to the north or south for miles to get around this big fucking thing to get over to the coast. Yeah. To get to the coast, they were like, we're not going over this thing, so just fucking go that way or that way, and we'll get around it. When they started, these early Spanish settlers started settling the area, they kept feeling something ominous in this mountain range, right? A feeling like they were being watched. A legend in the area started to form of Los Vigilantes Obscuros, the Dark Watchers. Basically, people in this area, for as far back as we know, will catch glimpses of large figures, we're talking like 7 to 10 feet in height, in long cloaks, frequently wearing a wide-brimmed hat and carrying a walking stick.
Oh, that's the BFG, dude.
What's that? The big fucking guy?
No, the big friendly giant.
Oh.
Roald Dahl? You're not familiar?
No, I'm not.
He does this.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it was from the Dark Watchers. I don't know.
But he's in London.
So they once you acknowledge the figures by approaching them, or if you stare for too long, they just disappear. Right? Now, I mentioned as far back as we know because it turns out that Shugash tribes in the area have stories of the Dark Watchers going back.
Shoegaze tribes?
Shugash.
Okay, sorry. I prefer shoegaze.
You don't like shoegaze.
I don't like shoegaze.
You don't like Sonic Youth.
If you don't like Sonic Youth, you don't like shoegaze.
That's an inside joke that nobody's going to get. These Shugash tribes in the area have Dark Watcher stories possibly going back thousands of years. We don't really have any way of knowing because it's all handed down through like oral tradition. Like there's not really anything written. There's like one sort of all-encompassing history of the Shugash, but I don't even think it was like by a native guy. I think it's just some white dude that was like, hey, I'll write all your stuff down.
Yeah.
So all these things are just oral traditions, so we don't really know when it started, how it started, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting that we've got stories about this same phenomenon for as long as we have history about this area, though. So full disclosure, there are 0 photos or videos of the Dark Watchers, which has led people to believe that they only appear to hikers without a bunch of technological gear on them. So you got an iPhone? Fuck you.
Hey man, maybe they feel the radio waves or whatever, and they're like,
yeah, you got a fucking GoPro on your helmet? No way. So if you're just paper maps and a bag of Gorp guy?
Bag of Gorp?
Yeah, good old raisins and peanuts.
That's Gorp?
That's Gorp, trail mix.
No, it's called trail mix.
Yeah, but Gorp's faster and cooler.
Gorp? Gorp Baringa.
It's an acronym for good old raisins and peanuts.
Oh, I thought it was just some weird dick piss you were talking about.
No, Gorp. Good old raisins
Gorp.
and peanuts.
Old Gorp. Good old Gorp.
sounds like a fucking
Gorp and Mindy.
An alien comedy movie. Good old Gorp.
Nanu. Gorp and Mindy.
That's Mork. You can't change 2 letters out of 4.
Gloop,
it's a whole
glop,
different
bleep,
name.
glorp.
All right. So they don't seem to be nefarious in any way. Most people think they maybe like just appear to make sure hikers don't get lost. Interestingly, John Steinbeck wrote about the Dark Watchers.
Oh shit.
In his short story Flight. So Steinbeck grew up in Salinas, California, and apparently his mother believed in the Dark Watchers, like hardcore believed in them. She was a teacher in the area, and she would leave fruit and nuts, also known as Gorp.
Shouldn't that be known as fan?
What?
Fruit and
nuts. She would leave fruit and nuts and other, various sundries for the Watchers on her walk to school every day. And apparently there would often be flowers on her way back home in the exact spot where she had left the food.
Oh, that's nice.
It's probably like a dude that was stalking her.
At least he left flowers.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's better than the alternative. A lot of stalkers do. So Steinbeck's son, Thomas...
used her as flower food.
Put it in her vase. So Steinbeck's son, Thomas, also claims to have seen Dark Watchers, and he wrote a book about them in 2017 called In Search of the Dark Watchers.
Hold on a second. John Steinbeck's son wrote a book in 2017.
Yeah.
Grapes of Wrath comes out in 41,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How old is Tommy Steinbeck?
60s?
All right, when did he release this book?
2017.
Really? Because he died on August 11th, 2016.
Oh, well, then...
Apparently the Dark Watchers don't like you fucking talking shit.
Yeah, the book could have been in production and then he fucking died. And then the book came out postmortem.
Yeah, I know, like Lord of the Rings. Tolkien has been releasing shit posthumously for almost 100 years at this point.
Yeah, well, it's his kids fucking finding writings and
Yeah.
fixing them up and making them pretty. So that's the Dark Watchers. I have one last California one. And this one's pretty goddamn silly. I mostly wanted to do it because it's a cryptid that just has a normal human name. A human name that happens to also be my niece's name. We're talking about Penelope.
Penelope.
Yeah. So
the most horrifying monster of all.
The story goes like this. Back in the 60s, Penelope and her husband were driving along the Sierras. This is the Penelope cryptid is in the Sierra Nevada mountain range.
Right.
Just FYI. So they're driving through the Sierras and they hit a really bad snowstorm. Penelope's driving, right? And this snowstorm's really bad. The wind's terrible. They end up careening off the road and down a cliff. Penelope wakes up in the wreckage and finds her husband's decapitated head in her lap. By the way, this legend, quote unquote, reads more like a fucking fireside story at overnight camp.
Right. Which or all the best are you know.
Exactly. So she wakes up from the wreckage and her husband's decapitated head is sitting there in her lap and she fucking loses her mind. She goes insane and she just walks off into the wilderness of the Sierras. And apparently she's doing okay surviving and sort of trying to make her way back to civilization until, what do you know, another snowstorm hits, right?
Right.
So, God damn it, Penelope's in another snowstorm.
Sierras are crazy too. I've been out there in the winter.
Penelope's in another snowstorm sounds like an emo song.
Penelope's in another snowstorm.
No, one where the one where
like Midwestern emo.
Yeah, one where the title has nothing to do with one where the title has nothing to do with the lyrics.
Oh, okay,
like a Minus the Bear song.
Sierra Nevada's obviously where the Donner Party fucking did their shit.
Yeah,
I've been through there in the winter, and that's scary fucking stuff, man. That's insane.
Yeah. So another snowstorm hits, and she's just like groping her way around through the storm, and she finds a bunch of barrels. She manages to find one that's like empty and on its side, and she gets in it to get out of the storm. And she gets in it just in time to pass out from exhaustion. Sadly, these abandoned barrels were full of toxic waste. And when Penelope comes out, the barrel she spent the night in, which had toxic residue, has seeped into her. And she is now 7 feet tall.
What?
With long, lanky hair and razor-sharp claws and fangs and a hunger for human flesh.
Oh, badass.
Yeah. Apparently, she's also lightning fast and will fucking decapitate or impale you before you even know she's there.
Oh, I like that one.
Now, without getting into some of the more ridiculous stories associated with this cryptid / urban legend /
how big is this barrel?
Are you afraid of the dark ass monster we've got over here? What? How big is what?
How big is the barrel? She came out 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
55-gallon drum, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Curl up real well. There are some really fucking silly stories surrounding this old Penelope, right? Stuff like Penelope derailing an entire train and eating all of the passengers.
Yeah.
A bunch of eaten hikers, a bunch of eaten rangers. Oh, a whole FBI team sent out to find her, and they find out that their guns don't do shit against her.
Sick.
And she just killed and devoured all of them. So there are people who believe that this is
bullshit.
No, an overhyped story about a different cryptid, though. Some people believe this to be a pale walker, not to be confused with Paul Walker from the Fast and the Furious franchise. First two?
First two? No, he's not even in the second one.
He's not? He died after the first one?
No, it's Tokyo Drift.
Third one is Tokyo Drift.
Oh, well, then he's in the second one.
Yeah, I thought so.
With Tyrese Gibson?
And Vincent Diesel.
Vinny D.
I don't know. I never watched any of those movies. So, pale walkers are said to be long and thin and very obviously pale. They're
like my wiener.
Well, it's summer. Get that thing out, boy. They're obscenely fast and they're super aggressive, right? So it tracks. Penelope sounds like she's all of those things. The problem is that the origin of pale walkers varies greatly depending on who you talk to. Some people say that the legend of pale walkers goes back to Native American folklore. I want to make a pilgrim joke here. Pale walkers getting off the boat in Plymouth Rock.
Are you gonna make a joke about it, or are you just gonna do a reference? You're gonna reference the fact that you would like to make a joke while not making one?
That's it.
Okay, I'm embarrassed for you.
I almost went, instead of saying not to be confused with Paul Walker, I almost said I want to make a Fast and Furious joke, but
no, the Paul Walker thing was good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to a podcast where we imply that we have a joke to tell about everything.
No, I didn't have a joke, and I didn't want
don't.
to. I didn't want to create one. I just was like, we got to get on with this. So, some people say that the legend comes from Native American folklore. Others think that the concept was created and popularized with the advent of the internet and the
Slender Man,
the new Louisiana swamp monster, which inspired Slender Man, which is just a fucking pale walker in a suit.
Right.
You've definitely seen the new Louisiana swamp monster. If you see the photo of it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. It was some guy named Creepy Pasta or something like that.
Some guy named Creepy Pasta.
Well, his internet name. I think it was it's something about Creepy Pasta.
Yeah, Creepy Pasta is just a series of internet like horror stories.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a username.
No, Creepy Pastas are like the Slender Man's Creepy Pasta. What was that? The bitch, fucking. Ugh, they have a bunch of, they're all over the place.
Okay.
Like the Red Room stories, or like there's a million internet creepypastas.
Okay, well, so sorry, listeners, it's not a username, it's just a genre and has nothing to do with pasta at all.
Patrick is old and not with it. But frankly, if you know what a fucking creepypasta is, then you are also old and not with it.
Okay, so. I know what the ranchetti at Olive Garden is.
Yes, it's $17.99
with unlimited salad and breadsticks.
Ooh, it's a steal.
I'm gonna get an Italian old fashioned.
Oh, I know this one. That's an old fashioned with Frangelico in it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I just know that any of those franchise, they're not franchises, corporate Italian, quote unquote Italian restaurants always take like a traditional drink and they're like, just put Italian in it and put fucking amaretto or something.
Dude, when I was coming up as a bartender, like I'd get those recipe books that had 8 billion fucking recipes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get like a B52 with Cadillac plates or some shit.
Oh my God.
And it'd be like some awful mixed drink, but this one's got pineapple in it.
So stupid.
Yeah, an Italian old fashioned would be like Frangelico or like fucking a Negroni, essentially.
Yeah, gross. All right, so
not to say Negronis have Frangelico in them. I'm not a fucking asshole, okay? Just saying that a Negroni would be okay. Italian old fashioned. It's fucking liquor on a cube. Liquor on a cube. Barely nowhere on a cube.
Anyway, so like I said, we don't know if this is actually Native American folklore or if it's a creepypasta from the early days of the internet. We do know that there's like no denying that there were already stories of cryptids that sort of check all the Pale Walker boxes pre-internet.
That's what I was talking about. That was one of the creepypastas.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just fucking, there's like suicide stories about like fucking challenges going around high schoolers killing themselves.
Yeah.
And like fuck all that shit. It's all internet scare tactic.
The ring bullshit.
It's all it is very much shit perpetuated by the ring.
Yeah. So like I said, there's no denying there were already stories of cryptids that sort of fall into this same category as Pale Walkers before the internet. There were also fucking books like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark before the internet. So
that's true. And the illustrations in there would like, there are definitely some fucking Penelope ass illustrations in Scary Stories.
We do have a few sightings of this one. My favorite one of them, this is this is not a sighting story. It's just a guy named Steven of Jersey City, New Jersey, who commented on one of the websites with the story that I told about Penelope's origins, the whole car accident, decapitated husband, blah, blah, blah. So on November 23rd of 2021, he said in this website, this was his comment, quote, "The creepypasta style backstory is ridiculous and degrades the true sightings of this creature. Penelope is a real phenomenon and does not need story embellishments to make it more frightening. I have seen it and can tell you the thing looks like it just ran off a Hollywood horror movie set. I have also spent many nights in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and the last place I would look for shelter is in a steel drum. Besides, sightings of this creature date way before cars or toxic steel drums of radiation."
I don't know. I think that guy is being very rude about Penelope, who is a strong, fierce, independent woman. Okay,
who don't need no man.
I think phenomenon
because he's decapitated on the side of the road.
I think phenomenon is a rude thing to say. She is a femininomenon.
I don't know, Steven. We hope you're doing well, and thanks for really getting into the nitty gritty of your sighting, bud.
Eat shit, Steven.
But wait, there's more.
Oh,
in 2023, a witness who we'll call LR because that's the alias they used in their story, they claim that he or she, we don't know if it's a man or a woman, so he or she were camping in an RV with their teenage son in the Sierra Nevada mountains near Tioga Lake. Tioga Lake, I think. Right? Is it Tioga or Tioga?
I don't know.
Tioga Lake.
Ticonderoga.
It was around 12:30 at night, and LR's son had gone to bed already, and LR was like preparing for the next day, right? Looking over some maps, whatever. This is from fucking 2023, and LR's looking at maps. Hopefully on LR's phone. So LR's preparing for the next day, looking over maps, and he or she hears this shrill, blood-curdling scream, right? So we've got a quote here from LR, him or herself. Quote, "At first I thought it was a coyote, but it was a single scream and sounded more human, like a woman's scream. I opened the RV door and stood silent in its doorway. Once again, the high-pitched scream started. This time, I woke my son. We both stood at the door as the screams continued from the direction of the mountain. After about 10 minutes, the screams stopped, and we both went to bed. A little later, something startled me while I was sleeping because I woke up in a panic. I looked at my watch. It was 2:40 a.m. All of a sudden, that same high-pitched scream erupted right outside of the RV. As it started, my son jumped up out of his rack and fell to the floor. I grabbed my .44 just in case. LR's packing some motherfucking heat. Goddamn.
Martin Scorsese from
Jesus,
Taxi Driver.
44?
Jesus Christ.
As we looked out through the windshield, the moonlight was bright enough to illuminate a tall, thin creature with light-colored skin. My son yelled, "Zombie!" I don't know how old the son is, but it did look like a female human form, but the face and rest of the body looked horrible. It reminded me of an old witch. No clothes, deformed face, long, light-colored hair, long arms and legs. I figured it stood almost 7 feet.
Strong, brave, powerful. Very rude men.
It was walking away from the RV toward the lake. I had seen enough. I made sure everything was ready to go and drove out of there ASAP. We ended up near Mono Lake. This is bear country, and I know that there have been Bigfoot reports over the years, but what we saw was neither, as far as we could tell. A few days later, I was able to talk to a ranger as we walked through the camping area. He was an older guy and pretty engaging. I described what we witnessed. My son also verified what we had seen. The ranger got a serious look on his face and said that over the years, something similar has been reported a few times. He said that they called it Penelope, but he didn't know. He said that they called it Penelope.
Dun, 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 dun.
But he didn't know why he had gotten that name. That's all he knew.
He had gotten that name because that's her name.
Anyway, I could do a couple more eyewitness accounts, but we got to move on to the last state, and that is Alaska. Alaska's got some cool ones. I mean, you'd assume so. I mean, at least I did, just purely based on like the crazy wilderness out there.
I'm going to assume, let's see, we got a big moose.
Yeah. I don't have a big moose. But a lot of the people who live out there live
in constant fear of big mooses.
Big meese. They live in a much more isolated fashion than you and I are used to, for sure. Like even if you're on a few acres and you can see your neighbors on both sides of you, that's still pretty fucking isolated when essentially anything can happen to you and no one's going to know for a little while. You know what I mean? Like you see the, like driving through the Alaskan, you know, if you're not in Anchorage or Fairbanks or anywhere that's relatively sewered, like where it's relatively populated, driving through, you'll see a house and there's areas that are flat enough that you can see the next house, but it's like acres away.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking isolated. Even though you can see your neighbor's house, that you're fucking isolated big time.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Yeah, right. We've also got a fucking ton of native tribes in Alaska that are pretty well removed from like the sort of tribal folklore that we're familiar with and the stuff that we've learned about, you know, all the way here on the other side of the fucking country as far as you can. So obviously they've got big feats. They've got a bunch of fucking big old lakes and waterways. So you know what else they've got? Hey, you want to guess the water monster that's in Lake Iliamna? You want to guess what that's called?
Illy.
It is Illy.
Hey,
you got one.
I'm getting good at this.
They've also got a Thunderbird out there.
Hell yeah.
And
like a 65 Thunderbird?
Yeah. They've also got a few super unique ones, right? This one is called the Kushtaka. This creature is from Tlingit folklore. I don't know if I destroyed that pronunciation or not, but Tlingit, which is a tribe. I believe it literally translates to land otter man.
Land otter man.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure what these little fuckers look like because every website I looked them up had a different photo and like a whole different vibe. Like the first one that I looked had like just an otter standing on its hind legs holding a spear, and he was wearing like a necklace of, I don't know, shark's teeth or
cool,
maybe
like
orca teeth.
Fucking like Redwall.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it was cute, and I was like, well, look at this tough big old boy.
Who's a little warrior.
Yeah. Another website, though, like the next one I looked at, had this big, badass looking like were-otter thing that looked cool as fuck, but also not like something you'd want to stumble across in the wilderness. And then
brings us back to our Irish episode of the legend of the master otter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So then there was a third website that had the most fucking Gomer-looking kushtaka I can imagine.
Gomer-looking.
It had like this humanish walrus face, just like without the tusks, on a human body, which was pretty buff. The body was buff. But I fucking looked at this thing and I laughed my ass off when I saw it because it just looks like it's just saying, duh. Like it just has this like super fucking like, duh look on its face. So it's very fucking derpy look. Imagine a walrus and human face fucking
Wilford Brimley.
It looked like a young, super buff Wilford Brimley.
Hell yeah.
Pre-diabetes.
He was never young though. Like
he was just old.
He was in Cocoon.
Yeah,
he was younger than Steve Gutenberg.
Weird. Holy shit. So, in short, the kushtaka are shapeshifters. These guys, I guess, kind of go between being giant sea otters to looking like human and
Selkies.
And anything in between, right? But only those two things.
Yeah.
So they can be all the way otters and all the way humans and stuff in between humans and otters, like Derpy McWalrus Stan. Like they can be something in between, right?
Derpy McWalrus Stan. Yeah, it's the legend of the Selkies. It's the Irish legend of the shape-shifting seals.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, these things sort of transcend places sometimes. Their whole deal is just making more kushtaka. They prey on people who are lost or in trouble, and they approach looking human and offering to help, and then they lead you further into the wilderness where they can attack you and turn you into one of them.
Tight.
They've also been blamed for leading sailors and fishermen to their deaths. Apparently they're really into kids, kidnapping kids, not
like really into kids.
Kidnapping kids they're really into and making them into fellow kushtaka. They're said to be really good at imitating the sounds of children crying or women screaming in order to lure people into their doom.
I like how many of these stories have this like have this thing that's like, you better not go out and help a woman if she's screaming in the dark.
Or you're going to turn into an otter
guy. Guess what's
going
to happen? You're going to get fucked.
You might be super cute with a spear, or you might look like a fucking weirdo.
I mean, like, without being like hyperbolic, like I do feel very much that like a lot of these legends can be based on like, oh, someone was murdered and you didn't go help, and you're like, I didn't go help them because that was a bear person.
You're gonna catch a common thread. You're gonna catch a common thread with these Alaskan ones, vis-a-vis them being almost all native tribal legends, right?
Somebody's screaming out in the woods. What the fuck they doing out there anyway? I'm not going out there.
So unfortunately for us, there are no official sightings of kushtaka, official quote unquote. And it seems like this is very much one of those legends that's passed down in native culture and told to kids to make sure they don't run too far off or go swimming alone or anything like that, right? And that's the common thread we're going to see in a couple of these, right? The next one is the Keelut or Keelut, Keelut. I'm going to call it a Keelut because that feels more native, right? Keelut just sounds like some guy in Alabama who I just showed this word to.
This is my buddy Keelut.
That's his name he got from prison. I don't know what his real name is. We just call him Keelut. So Keelut is an old Inuit tale of a possibly evil earth spirit that takes the form of a jet black hairless dog that's maybe bitter and spiteful, but also maybe helps guide souls to the afterlife.
Maybe looks dope as hell.
There's not a full consensus. No, it looks kind of dweeby. There's not a full consensus on whether these guys are good or bad. I think it skews bad. The general idea, though, is that you don't want one of them following you around, whether it's a good spirit that's going to babysit you on your way to the afterlife or a malevolent spirit that's going to fucking maul you to death and send you to the afterlife. The end result is this thing's following you around. You fitting to die. You know what I mean?
You finna die.
So apparently, just to complete the look, this dog spirit, this Kilut, does have hair on its paws. The only spot it's got hair, and only its paws, and that's so that it can smooth over its tracks in the snow and you can't see it.
Nice.
So I guess if you're walking around in the
Typical.
Alaskan, yeah, typical,
convenient, yeah.
If you're walking around in the Alaskan wilderness and you're not lost enough yet that the Kushtaka are coming for you, I don't know, I guess keep your eyes out for fucking dog paws that just suddenly disappear, because that means you're being stalked by a Kilut.
Well, fuck that, okay?
I could not find any firsthand accounts of a Kilut sighting. A lot of these just seem to be native legends that walk the wilderness. I don't know. I mean, here's another possibility. If you believe in cryptids, which I don't, but it's fun to do these. The largest state in the country has 1/12 of the population of New York City.
Interesting.
That might play a factor here. Just the borough of Manhattan has more than twice the population of the entire state of Alaska.
Wow.
So, honestly, there's not like a ton of random wilderness walking done in the snow in Alaska.
Right.
People who live there during the winter have snowmobiles. They have fucking planes. Like, Alaska's big. There's 9,100 pilot licenses out of 735,000 people. So over 1/10 of the people in Alaska have pilot's licenses.
That's cool.
And you see a lot of houses like on little lakes and stuff with docks and seaplanes sitting out on them.
That would be cool. I would like to live that way. Would be very cool. I would get a little pilot's license just to do a little puddle jumping.
Remember the show Northern Exposure?
I fucking love that show.
That was they had the little seaplane in that.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's a real thing in Alaska.
Northern Exposure is a fucking awesome show.
I don't remember anything specifically about it other than that guy who looks like the guy from 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah.
Was a doctor.
You're talking about the guy who looks like Steve Guttenberg, who I just previously referenced.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously not Ted Danson or Tom Selleck.
No.
But the whole premise of that show is that there's a doctor whose entire medical education was funded by the state of Alaska.
Oh.
And in order to pay them back for funding his medical profession, like the grant,
he's got to fly around his little seaplane.
He's going to do like 10 years in Alaska being like a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he goes up there and he's like, but I'm a New York City guy. This is crazy to me. I don't know.
Yeah, this whole state has 1/12 of the population of where I grew up.
Weird. There's a moose in the street. And it sounds like Blues Travelers playing. Yeah.
Oh boy, the old fish out of water story. We all love one of those.
Featuring several people who were actors in some things.
So yeah, Kilut roams around mostly undetected and fucking steals and consumes your soul. Seems to be the MO. Maybe ushers you to the afterlife. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just
brings you to the doorway.
maybe just eats your soul. Maybe that's a staple food for Kilut growth. I don't know what's going on with this guy. So we got 2 more. We're running long here, but fuck it. So this is the Kalupalik.
Cool.
I'm gonna spell that one for you.
Okay.
Because I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Qalupalik. Kalupalik.
Kalupalik.
So this is another mythological Inuit boogeyman. The Kalupalik, just to be clear, I didn't find any sightings on this one either. These are just fucking cool as hell. These are ugly mermaids.
Hell yeah.
Not the hot mermaids.
Tight. I prefer an ugly mermaid.
They're the ones with the scaly, bumpy, greenish skin, sharpened teeth, and webbed hands with claws. They smell strongly of sulfur.
Tight.
They live in icy Arctic waters, and they too love capturing children.
Nice. Do mermaids? That's a mermaid's thing. Is children?
I don't know. To me, it's crazy that there are any fucking Inuit descendants still knocking about.
Everything's trying to get
their kids. I mean, how do you survive to adulthood? So,
don't fuck around in the water.
Yeah.
Don't go wandering in the woods. Stay away from dogs.
Also, while you're at it, mind your own business. Otherwise, fucking Oniate is going to come from New York.
Mind your fucking business. Pretty much just do what you're told.
Kalupalik likes to hide under thin sheets of ice where they hum an enchanting melody to get kids to come out onto the ice, where then they'll knock on a section that they can break through. And when the kid comes running up, presumably to help, they break through the ice and they snatch the babies.
Hell yeah. That's a solid trap.
They're often depicted wearing amauti, which is it's like that Inuit parka that you've probably seen before with the baby pouch.
Okay.
If you've ever seen
Brother Bear.
Ice Age.
Right.
Brother Bear. So yeah, they snatch the baby, slam it in the amauti, and then they swim down to the depths where they either eat it to stay immortal or they trap it in underwater ice caves forever, like weird creepy art. I don't know.
Like weird creepy art.
Yeah, you got a fucking baby just in an ice
This is
cave.
my dead baby collection.
Yeah, right. Like, does the best Kalupalik have just like a whole cave full of children, like along all the walls? Look at how many babies I got.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
What did you think? I'm the Kalupalik who has everything.
I've got babies and children aplenty. I've got infants and toddlers galore.
You want Inuits? I got 20.
Well done. Well done.
So they also maybe can possibly shapeshift, which is good because apparently they're pretty invulnerable in their natural state. Like you can't just fucking kill a Kalupalik if it's just out there being scaly and
right.
Or humming at you or whatever.
Fucking sewing jackets.
But the Inuit, innovative fellas and ladies that they are, figured out a way to
I
kill
thought you were
them.
gonna say like association. The Inuit Innovative Lads and Ladies Association.
LLC, yeah. The Inuits figured out a way to kill them by going out on the water
and sticking them with sharp things.
And they're invulnerable to that. So they call out to them once they're on the water, and then they ask them. I don't know if like Kalupalik are just vain or what, but they ask them to, shapeshift into a whale or a seal or like show me what you can do, right? And
do
then
something cool.
And then apparently they're able to be killed.
Oh, nice.
Once they shapeshift. So if you're ever hanging out,
like that feels like something.
I don't know, but if you're ever hanging out with some Inuits and they offer you a fucking seal flank or whatever, just keep in mind you might be eating Kalupalik.
Hell yeah. I'd do it.
This seems like another legend that was probably used to keep kids from wandering too close to the water.
Yeah, don't get on thin ice
or
you
onto
idiot
fresh
child.
ice without supervision. So, last one. I'm not going to do Alaska without a single fucking sighting, right?
It's a giant moose.
So even though this sighting didn't happen in Alaska, it happened in Canada. This is another Inuit legend called the Adlet, Adlet, right? So the story goes that once upon a time, an Inuit woman mated with a giant dog, and they had 10 children.
Is this an Inuit legend?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Because otherwise, that is savagely racist.
5 dogs of the 10 children, 5 dogs and 5 Adlet. The Adlet have a dog's lower body and a human's upper body. So I think it's just a dude from like the waist up, and then it's got like a dog's lower half.
But like, okay, lower half in what respect? Are we doing just like the top half? Because the top half of the bottom half is 4 legs, and the top half...
No. Just like if you stood a dog up. If you made a dog bipedal.
Oh, it's a dog on his hind legs.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but then it's like a dude from the waist up, I think. But it is bipedal. So after these guys are born...
Like a fawn. It's like a fawn, but a dog.
What do you mean?
Like Mr. Tumnitz.
Oh, that kind of fawn. I thought you meant like a baby deer.
Mr. Tumnitz?
Mr. Tumnitz?
True. What's not Narnia?
Tumners, right? Mr. Tumners.
I don't know.
Mr. Tummy Tickles.
What?
I don't know.
Mr. Tummy Sticks.
So after these guys are born, Grandpa sees this abomination and he tries to kill them.
As you do.
And Mom, knowing that they would be hunted and persecuted, sent them away inland, where they made more Adlet in the wilderness. Presumably, doing some interbreeding.
Some dog stuff, I guess.
Not interbreeding, some is that interbreeding?
It's interbreeding, yeah.
So they are taller than humans, like 7 feet-ish.
7 feet with fucking dog, half dog.
Yeah, big fuckers.
That's
well,
weird.
the dad was a giant dog.
Yeah, were they like walking around on dog legs?
I think of the biggest dog you've ever seen.
Because I feel like, okay, so if a person stands up on dog legs, the dog legs are still going to be shorter than a person's. So they got to have like extremely long torsos.
Think about the biggest dog you've ever seen.
Yeah, like a cane corso or something.
Yeah. Now think about what a cane corso looks like on its hind legs next to a person.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty fucking big.
But like they're walking around. So okay, where does the dog part stop? It can't be the waist. Is it like right under the nipples?
I don't know. Well, how many nipples are we talking?
I mean, under the human
is it
nipples.
after the 8 nipples?
Or do you have 8 nipples, like dog nipples, and then after the nipples, that's when it's human?
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen one of these guys. So they are taller than humans. They have super keen hearing and sense of smell. They can see in the dark, and they are not super cool with human beings, probably because their fucking family poisoned them against us. I would totally be friends with a fucking adlet, honestly, if I'm being real here.
Yeah.
Although they are said to be bloodthirsty, possibly cannibalistic, at least against their human half. But yeah, they're pretty adept at surviving in the wilderness, provided everyone minds their damn business and leaves them alone.
Sounds like dog centaurs, and that's dumb.
No, if it was a dog centaur, it would be a human.
Stupid dog.
No, if it was a dog centaur, it would be 4 legs with a human torso.
Oh, so it's it's like a tumnus, like a fawn. Frank from Hercules.
Like a dog
but
minotaur.
A big dog. Big
like a
dog
minotaur.
People. It's a stupid one.
I think it's kind of cool.
Where's the moose?
There's no moose.
You gotta have
you,
a
there's
moose
no moose.
One.
I didn't see a moose. There's probably a moose.
Don't they have Wendigo in Alaska?
Yeah. Did we already do Wendigo?
Did we do Wendigos?
I thought so. Montana, maybe?
Yeah,
we did Wendigo.
Yeah, we did Wendigo.
Unsurprisingly, there's a very similar legend in Greenland called the
Big Fuck Dog Man.
Erkigdilet.
Okay, Greenland.
Erkigdilet. Erkigdilet. Erkigdlet.
Bjork.
It's a lot of consonants. I mean, but that makes sense. The natives in Greenland and Alaska are both descended from the same people who crossed, the land bridge from Asia. So it all makes sense. And we do have a few stories of people who encountered this thing. So this one is from Ontario, submitted to the pinebaronsinstitute.com, which sounds hella legit, but is just a fucking cryptozoological website run by some fucking dork who looks like Kevin Smith if he got fatter in the 2000s instead of skinnier. So this was, you want to see a picture of him?
Sounds legit. Yeah, I do. Actually.
He looks like the one guy from Pinback.
Actually, it's not a bad looking dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to write him a letter and say?
No, I mean he's got a full beard. Kevin Smith just.
You're handsome, and my partner called you a fat dork.
Kevin Smith's got like the jawline beard,
No, yeah, that's right.
He's like
he's a fucking like
just like drew a little pencil beard on there to define his jowls.
Yeah. If he got like a Caesar haircut, he would look hella Hispanic.
Yeah.
All right, so he might be Hispanic. Nah, Smith's not.
Kevin
really.
Smith?
Kevin Smith.
I kindly doubt it.
Oh yay! My name is Kevin Smith.
What? What are you doing?
That's Latino Kevin Smith.
No.
Yeah.
That's not a character that we're going to introduce here. That is so far below the fucking
I wrote a movie about a guy who falls in love with a lesbian, but she's like not into him, but then maybe she is, and then they have some sex, and then they break up.
Is that Jersey Girl?
No, it's
Dogma.
No, god damn it. Ben Affleck and the girl with the raspy voice.
Mallrats.
Chasing Amy.
If anybody wants to respect me less, just know that when he said Ben Affleck and the girl with the raspy voice, I said Mallrats because both of those actors are in Mallrats.
Yeah.
So I fucking nailed it.
Yeah, but it's Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
But yes, they are both in Mallrats. So this was submitted
for the approval of the Midnight Society.
This was submitted by an anonymous user, which, I mean, grow up hair, dude. So this is the quote. A month ago, I was in the car driving back from Niagara Falls, Ontario. It was a snowy night, very dark and cold outside. My friend and I were driving down a dark street with hardly any streetlights. So whatever you saw is... Okay. As we were driving, I noticed the glare of eyes beside the road and looked to my right as we were passing a driveway. Next to the driveway was a mailbox and then a ditch. I don't know why everybody's giving us all of the minute details. Like, we don't need all the minutia. Like, just tell us what happened. Standing halfway in a ditch was this very tall, large, white, and hairy creature. It was standing on all fours with longer front ones than back limbs. I'm reading this verbatim, by the way. I am usually very good with recognizing species and breeds of animal, but I am 100% certain this was not any creature I've ever seen before. I looked my friend to ask if they seen that as we were passing it. To what she said, no, and we both looked back and seen the back end of the white creature disappearing into the pitch black wooded area. We were both very freaked out and talked about it for the rest of the way home. I brought it up to one family member and neither of us ever talked about it again. Yesterday, we had a lot of bitter snow here in Thorold, Ontario.
Dhorold. Thorold.
Last night at apparently 11:30 p.m., my brother, who is a year older than me, came in the house kind of in a panic and scared. He was walking home from his friend's house, which is about a block away, and as he was approaching our street, he heard a growl and briefly saw, as what he described to me, the same white hairy creature standing on the opposite side of the street before it disappeared. After a lot of Googling different words, trying to see if anyone else had seen the same type of image, we came across the cryptid creature called an adlet. My sibling and I both have Native American blood in us from Algonquin and Mi'kmaq
from the Native Americans we ate
tribes, which we have read could play a part. Never have I ever believed in mythological creatures, nevertheless a werewolf type creature, but we both feel strongly that this is what we both saw at different times without knowing about the other. We are very freaked out now and don't want to go outside at night.
Yeah, you got to look out because there's like half dog people that'll eat you there.
Yeah, to which our guy Adam Benedict, which is the guy who runs this Barren Pines, or what was it?
Pine Barrens Institute in Long Island.
Yeah, is it Long Island?
Yeah, I've been to the Pine Barrens.
Oh, okay.
You never been to the Pine Barrens?
No.
Fucking loser.
To a fucking cryptozoological place?
No, I mean the Pine Barrens is a place.
Oh, okay. Well. No, he runs the Pine Barrens Institute. Anyway, Adam Benedict is the nerd we saw the picture of. So he responded, "Thank you, Anonymous, for contacting us with your story. I've actually been in your position before. The one where you're driving and you catch a glimpse of something odd enough on the side of the road that you just have to stop, back up, and take a look. It's typically because that little voice inside your head starts yelling that it needs to know what your eyes saw so it can properly categorize it in your brain and not let it continue on as a mystery. The only difference is, where I just saw an abnormally large deer or bear, you may have caught sight of something that most would say is just a myth or a legend. The adlet, which you believe could be a possibility for what you saw, are thought to be a type of dog-human hybrid, not to be confused with the more widely known dogman. These dogmen were well known within the stories and legends of various First Nations people around Canada, and were also prevalent within the Inuit mythology of Greenland. Doesn't mention Alaska, but okay. What makes the adlet different than modern-day interpretations of dogman, though, is that this race of creatures was said to have the normal body of a human on top and the long legs of a dog on the bottom. No tail was said to be present. Because of this, the adlet were able to run extremely fast and were said to stand high above normal men.
What the fuck about having 2 dog legs makes you fast? That doesn't make any fucking sense at all. It's just like, oh, look, I got the back dog legs. They run super quick.
Dog runs faster than you do.
Yeah, but dog doesn't run fast on its back legs. It does a little floaty dance,
That's where all the thrust is, man.
It goes, blip, 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 blip. Tip, tap, tip, tap.
All the thrust is in the back legs.
Yeah, but it's countered by the front supports. I'm gonna say that this.
You ever go to the tracks to the Greyhound races?
No.
You see their back legs quivering, ready to go.
Yeah, but because they got front legs. Does the atlet run on its front feet? The front hands?
Does it run on all fours?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Also, being 7 feet tall would make you run pretty fast if you were, living out in the woods and probably pretty.
If you're a weird top heavy 7 foot tall person with dog legs, I'm not impressed.
Why would you be top heavy?
He's eating a cookie on Mike.
Your wife brought it.
Yeah, so?
Why would you be top heavy?
Because you get person parts. You're a human being with a head on your head, and then you just got dog legs back there.
You have giant dog legs.
Yeah, so?
And you're not living a...
Dogs are designed to have front supports. Their heads are the heavy part.
It's not like Frank the Adlet is working in a fucking call center. He doesn't have a gut. He's living out in the woods fucking surviving. He's buff.
Dogs are top heavy. That's why they have front legs.
This isn't a dog. This is an Adlet.
I get it, but it's still back.
Best of both worlds,
back
baby.
legs, the dog back legs don't work without the front supports.
I almost said Beth of both worlds, which sounds like a show we need to write now.
Beth the Atlet. Beth's a modern girl.
About a female Adlet, yeah. She's constantly dealing with trying to keep her identity
Beth's
quiet.
A modern girl trying to integrate into the society that doesn't accept her.
She's 7 feet tall, so she has to be like a WNBA player.
She's about to learn. When an Adlet's trying to move into the big city, life can be a bitch.
What does she do for work?
She's an ad executive, duh.
I was going to say, work for an ad agency?
Yeah. She just got her big break.
She's 7 feet tall.
Let's end this episode.
Which one? I think Adlet's kind of my favorite.
Nah, Adlet's dumb.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think
it's a stupid fucking...
Drew's got one. What do you...
I like the pants.
Drew like the
Fresno Nightcrawler. I'm the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I think my favorite of these was John Frusciante.
Heroin guy.
Yeah. California.
California, the LA heroin guy.
No, I like the Devil's Pet.
Devil's Pet?
I like because of the corroborationary evidence in Arizona.
With Guillermo Embustero y Mentiroso.
Yeah, Billy.
Guillermo Liar and Liar.
Yeah,
they had to
Billy
say it
the
twice.
Liar.
That's fucking hilarious. Is like, I have to know where that. So the guy who wrote the book got that account from Guillermo's great grandson. So did the guy who wrote the book make that name up, or did the grandson make the name up?
The Billy bullshit was never a real person.
It sounds like somebody's trolling someone.
My grandfather fought the devil himself in this. This is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, somebody's trolling. But
I do like that it was corroborated with like a newspaper in another
with
state.
the tombstone thing. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Well, Drew, did you find the newspaper with the 160-foot crocodile with wings in Tombstone? No. Well. That's life, I guess.
That's life.
That's life.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Delete Everything podcast, starring Patrick Wall and Riley Bowen.
Hey, whoa, you do some Frank Sinatra and then you stop?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, if you liked, if you want to tell us what your favorite fucking cryptid was in this episode, if you're on Spotify, you can leave a comment in the individual episode. And any others, if you want to just tell us what your favorite cryptid was in, I don't know, the Bible episode or whatever, you just write it in there.
Come Sucking Jesus is my favorite cryptid.
Oh, God damn it. Jesus.
Yeah.
Snowball, sweet Snowball and Jesus. If you like the show, then get on whatever you listen to. Give us a good review. Give us a good rating. And if you want to say hello to us, if you want to send us a message, if you have a show topic that you think you would like to hear us do, deleteeverythingpodcast@gmail.com is the place to hit us at. And then if you've listened to all the episodes and you're like, what's next, man? patreon.com/deleteeverythingpodcast. We've got 30 something, probably zeroing in on 40 at some point in the not too distant future. We got a bunch of episodes up there, and those are shorter. Those you get one once a week. So it's not like you sign up for Patreon and then you're just stuck with that. No, we keep adding shit every week, baby. So that's enough for us. It's kind of late over here. We started recording late, so I think we're going to all, I don't know,
go sleep and dream of the undiscovered, deleted, and omitted cryptids of the Alaskan, New York, and California plains.
All right. Fuck yeah. That sounds like a positive note to go out on. And with that being said, listen to the whole goddamn version of our intro now. Bye.
Peace.
The Ruger coming in through the window to take our double.
top heavy. That's why they have front legs.